Practice Podcast, where we cover the only sport in the world where there is no practice. With your mini rod driving host, Adam Kester, Tyler Slaw, and Chase Richardson. Strap in for some debates on the world of pulling, exclusive special guests, and a whole lot of nonsense BS. The No Practice Podcast starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, pulling fans, welcome to another episode of the No Practice Podcast, episode number 48. Joined by Mr. Chase Richardson and Mr. Adam Kester, both of them which are 2025 NTPA Grand National Champions. Gentlemen, how does it feel?
I'd say that deserves a cheer. Tyler, the only reason why you didn't get one because you don't run NTPA, right?
Well, you know, I run in the same class as Adam, so there's no chance that all three of us could have done it. I heard that there was some behind-the-scenes discussions as to whether or not I would be allowed to remain on the show because I didn't, bring home a championship myself. But I appreciate both of you allowing me to be in your company this evening.
It was a, Saturday night, Enderle, Adam clinched a championship in the mini rod. I won a championship two-wheel drive, and we were catching people on fire in campground. I forgot in campground pit parties. We didn't really catch somebody on fire, but someone did catch on fire.
Who caught on fire?
We'll get more into that later, but
we'll get into that.
We were jolly and confident and feeling good about ourselves and had a few drinks. And I think it was me said, "Hey, so we can change the name of the next podcast to the NTPA Championship Podcast and Tyler Slaw."
Yeah, that would be appropriate.
But that was the alcohol drinking. But it was a fun night. Congrats, Adam, to you, and never take these moments for granted from my perspective.
Ain't no shit. Enderle weekend's a pretty good weekend. I think you had a little bit more of a comfortable intro into that pool than maybe myself. You come in there, basically had to hook to this. We did figure out after the podcast that you did have to hook to the sled to actually receive points. So, but nobody slit Chase's tires or anything like that. He got to hook to the sled and got
what
to
a
make
shame.
it fast.
It was addressed. It's funny, the topics of the podcast translate to the meetings, and it was very clear that you have to pull in the track, get hooked to the sled, and make an attempt or whatever the fancy wording is to get your points, which that would be, you imagine the drama. If they keep this up, it's going to happen one day, the drama if somebody couldn't get it in gear or something. But
just their whole championship falling apart before their very eyes.
Yeah.
For those that are currently present that don't know the reference from last episode, we stumbled into the quandary as to whether or not, with only 5 people there, but the Enderle counting for points, if you couldn't hook to the sled, would you still get, your 15 show-up points, or would you get 5th place points? How would that work? And Marvin, to his credit, answered his phone while we called him live on the air, but wasn't 100% certain as to how that would go. But I will say the evening before the Enderle, there was kind of a live broadcasted deal where you could watch the drawing of the numbers. And Marvin, within the first 60 seconds, he addressed that question and stated how that would be going. So that was good.
But he never watches the podcast, though, right?
Well, I mean, he might not watch the podcast, but he knew that was a question that people wanted answered, and by golly, he answered it. So I'll give him credit there.
Yeah, Adam, what was your thought on the 5 o'clock start then, really, and kind of the change up this year? I didn't really talk to you about it, but it was having points.
It's definitely different.
It was definitely different.
Yeah, it's I think so we'll just start with had to be there Friday, right? So we could be to draw our numbers and do all that stuff. So I actually rolled into town there, and it was just me and Toby rolled in there, and there's a what is it called, the Wing Bar or something like that. At the office, they have a drive-through liquor store, whatever. We pulled the toter home over there on the shoulder, had to go in and get a 30-pack, and I was getting yelled at from inside the bar, they have like a patio area, but I couldn't see in there. And I heard some people saying, you can't walk through the drive-through, because I was heading that way. And then I couldn't recognize the voice. And then I came around the corner and I noticed a side-by-side that looked pretty familiar. So when I went in to get my 30-pack of beer, which usually should cost, 24, 26, $30, right? I think it ended up costing me like about $170 because I bought everybody that was in there a shot and made him drink some tequila for screwing with me. But yeah, we roll in there. We did all this stuff. We had a pretty good time Friday night. You wake up Saturday and come outside, and you may have heard a recording just over and over and over. Kind of felt like we were in the Twilight Zone there for a minute. But
I forgot all about. Why do we not ever? So I'm sorry. We never planned, and then we start talking this podcast, and I forget the funny stories. But carry on, Adam.
Yeah, so
I'm left out. What do you mean by that? You have to explain.
This is not funny,
it's
but
just,
it's funny.
the poll started at 5, and if there were fans walking around at 9 o'clock in the morning, they probably knew what was going to happen that night. But
what do you mean?
There was a continuous feed being pumped out of the speakers that I think was irritating some people. It may have had to get it addressed.
It started like 9 in the morning too, right?
Well, I didn't get out of bed till 11 o'clock, and I think there had already been 2 hours of it running by the time I came outside. I didn't realize that, but everybody else on the property did.
Well, they call it like a sound loop. I mean, we all probably been to sporting
events. Oh, it's looped all right.
There's a sound loop. There's a sound loop that normally lasts like at least 30 minutes, and it starts over. I mean, maybe it's 10 minutes.
No, it wasn't 30 minutes. It was probably
I'm giving an example.
Most of the time, most places, it's at least 10 minutes probably. Right. This sound loop that they were playing there had to be 2 minutes.
And it just kept playing over and over?
There was so it was playing in the pits, and everyone could hear it.
Voice. I picked up on that about the 10th time I heard it.
Well, the best part.
So being the kind guy that I am, thank you for coming to Urbana. Welcome to Urbana. It just started over and over and over and over and over. Anyways,
I see people in the comments. You guys can't be the only ones. Just thank you for coming to the Enderle Pull-Off. Welcome to the Enderle Pull-Off.
Yeah, exactly.
To Urbana.
They said thank you for coming to the Enderle Pull-Off. Welcome to Urbana, Ohio.
Yeah, I didn't even stop. It was a run-on sentence at that point.
We have some fans commenting right now, like this was a bigger deal than probably what we realized.
I didn't realize it. I had been outside for 10 minutes, and I heard it probably 8 times, and I was already like, I've had enough of this. Only because there was a speaker pointed directly at our trailer.
Hey, you know what, Adam? For once, you're on the receiving end of an obnoxious speaker instead of the providing end.
So I did make a round. I did make a round on my scooter, and we did get it shut off.
Did you?
Yeah.
Who did you speak to?
A few people.
No, Chase.
First time when I heard Jesse Petro's voice, I thought, man, I'll just text him because President NTPA, you can get something pulled off here. Yeah. I said, hey, I'd have to think about exactly what I said, Jim. I'm like, hey, can they cut their promo off?
I can.
And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, the audio that they're pumping through the campgrounds or the whole pit area and everywhere. Can we cut this off? And then he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I just left a funeral. I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Like, he's like, I'm not even there. What are you talking about? What promo? I don't remember doing a promo. I'm like, it's definitely you, dude. I've heard it numerous times and I have a pretty good memory. I can kind of catch on a voice pretty quick, but needless to say, Greg Randall was kind enough to get that cut off for a couple hours. And then when the fans started showing up, they started playing it again. It was kind of interesting deal. So that took up the first part of my morning. I got my blood pressure going pretty good.
I was going to say, I can give my version of the story. So
go ahead.
I saw Adam late Friday night, and Saturday, what was the driver's meeting at noon? So
something like that.
Here come rolling the driver's meeting. Here comes Adam on a scooter, and he kind of looks at me, and he's like, "Who in the has this been going on over and over? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I'm like, I don't know. He's like,
No.
they keep playing it nonstop, and then he
What people don't realize, I'd only been out of the toter home for about 15 minutes, and they're like, "No, this has been playing for like 2 hours." I'm like, "Are you serious?"
The
whenever
real
Adam
question
came rolling
here,
in on
Chase,
that, this is a guy ready to win a championship right here.
the real question is, Chase, does Adam bringing this up qualify for a positivity check on the board?
I don't know. I think he did it. He was a sacrificial lamb because nobody else was willing to say anything, and he got it cut off. So
Okay.
I would say it's I would say it's
No, Greg Randall did a solid. I thanked him greatly for that. I asked him, "Hey, can we run this like once an hour or something?" And they were very kind about it. I don't think they realized what was going on. Like, I think they were all off doing important things, and they just didn't realize that it was continually going. So I'm sure it was a small mistake that they were very sorry for. But it definitely got my me going there on Saturday morning. But it's quite interesting. I heard mini rods starting up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like, man, these guys. Everybody's coming out. So everybody was kind of doing their own deal. I think the whole mini rod class knew it was on the line. So you sit there and wait. And for like a guy that has 3 mini rods and you're only running 1, you got a lot of downtime and a lot of time to think about stuff. So we maybe added a degree of timing and finally took some fuel out of the thing. Maybe ran a little bit too hard there. It kind of bucked the wheelie bars a couple times, and
a little light on the nose there. Did you have everything up front, Adam?
Oh yeah. I think what got me in trouble, Tyler, when the motors, when the motors turned up like that, and it gets up and it hits the wheelie bars, if the motor's not so wound up, it'll just kind of stay there and hang on, right?
Yeah.
You turn it up and it hits the wheelie bars, and the accelerates the engine a little bit, so does the wheel speed. And honestly, if we would have just went in there with the same idea, probably of the whole year of like just run the thing like it's been running and not get aggressive with it, because the track was really, really good. I mean,
it was,
and that's and it was kind of funny. I hate to say it this way, but the mini rods running, we're a third class. We were just after the modifieds. Every one of the modifieds went to the left.
Yeah, I saw that,
and so I already knew I was going to go to the left side of the track because guys were moving to the right, and there was even taking them harder to the left. So I'm like, I'm moving over to the left. Well, then the last mod runs, and he moves over to the left. Well, then that means I had to go even further to the left. And, it's one of those things you have to completely get out of the rut to have because you don't want to be partial in, partial out. And those mods, they leave a pretty good rut when they leave the starting line. So, I was going to try to cross the track, which I did. I did exactly what I wanted to do. I went straight. I didn't hit the brakes. Nothing went out of ride. It's just I had, I'm not going to drop the hitch. So should I have?
No.
It may have made it worse, honestly, because it may have got more speed, and then the front end could have came up a little bit higher. So it was good that it picked up early out of the hole. It's just, when it hit the wheelie bars, the motor accelerated, and then the tire speed, you kind of come unglued for a second and goes up and down. So needless to say, after I ran, I was like, that was not a good run. I knew it was going to be beat.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I just didn't realize
that
everybody was doing the same thing. Like, everybody had their stuff tuned up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And moving around. Lindsay made it. She drove it like perfectly, and kept the motor loaded and kept the front end down. A lot of the other guys, Ken was up and down a little bit, had some breakage at the end. He was probably going to make a really good pass when he broke. Adam was up and down. I really had to fight it off the line there because he went all the way to the right-hand side of the track. And just, Jeff, he was going for it. He was going for the win. At that point in time, he knew, he being last took, that he couldn't win the championship, but he was gonna go for the win. So he got aggressive too, and I think everybody just trying really hard. It was a good class, but as the night went on, I think this, and maybe I'm speaking out of term here a little bit, but that track got way better at night, and it would have been interesting to see what difference it would have been at night. But Track was really good the whole time. What do you think, Chase?
No, I thought it was fantastic on both sides, honestly. It always seems like it's a little harder getting moving off the line there than a lot of places. I think it's more of how the sled sits. It's like not elevated at all, but no, it was shit across the board. It was. I didn't watch
light
a lot
mod.
of
I don't think it. As soon as you touched the throttle, the front end was in the ground. When you spun out, it was in there.
Picked up a Grand National.
Yeah, it was. This carried the front end all the way down the track, and there's no audio here, but it was pulling its tongue out pretty hard at the end. And that was probably the hardest load we put on all year.
You could legitimately pull your front tires off. Like they pick right leaving the line, and even when it kind of right here, the front end comes down a little bit, but it just hangs the front tires in the air. You're barely moving. Front end's still like a foot in the air, and then it just sets the front tires down. I mean, I feel like that's a testament to a track right there.
It's pretty close to a mini rod. I mean, obviously, when you win, you like it a little more, but it's you have to be quick on it like you do a mini rod in terms of steering it and so forth, because it's not like a heavy mod. If you touch that brake, it'll move it. So
it looked like it started to go one direction there for a second, and maybe a small adjustment, right?
Yeah. Well, I think I hit it too hard because I hit the other brake too, but I'm not going to complain about it. That class, man, it's fun to watch. I mean, obviously winning it, I can say that, but we're not the only ones to pick the front end up. We just picked it up and carried it nicely down through there that night. So then, and the interesting part, I've been hearing, of course, we're going into off-season mode. We'll talk about that a little bit. There's going to be at least probably 3 more light mods running next year with like recognizable pullers and names coming onto it. So I think that
say all of them now.
I don't want to get in all that because I think Billy Beers I'll say Billy won't get mad. Billy Beers is coming out with one. His what was it? Stampede is yellow tractor. They're going to make that into a 2-engine tractor, and I think his son Bill Jr. is going to probably campaign it. But
I mean, I heard Billy was going to get a mini rod too, though, and I don't think that ever happens. So
yeah, it's a little easier to probably accommodate a 2-engine tractor than change everything you have to mini rod. But no, it's
fair.
I think what is this, year 3, and it's almost taken a decade to probably get a good class. It's got good, decent numbers and competitive. It started as a light unlimited, and Adam Bauer came in and annihilated the field until they changed the rules on them. And then went to, what was it, screw blowers or like a 2-engine roll. And now it's back to 2 with 1471. So it's taken a decade to get there. But I think now the class has some real momentum. And I think from what I hear, there's promoters rewarding them at their events too. So
I think they put on a killer show.
Yeah.
Would Tyler, would you ever meet Bruce halfway?
So yeah, for those not in the know, my father used to run a multi-engine tractor, wants one badly. We campaigned 2 mini rods, and I try to draw a firm line in the sand that no multi-engine tractor, because it's just too much work. And just to be clear, at the end of the day, it's all up to him. The only power I have is saying, yeah, I'm not going to be a part of it. But, he said like, oh, we can get a 4-engine tractor. You can drive it. And no, I have no desire. And I know damn well that if he had a 2-engine tractor, there's no chance that in year 1, we wouldn't be like, well, let's drop a 3rd one on there and run it here. And probably by year 2, we would have 4 on it just for a couple of select events. And then by year 3, you'd have to make a couple more passes on it early in the season with 4 on it just to get your setup dialed in for those big events where you want to run 4. And next thing you know, you're like, well, we might as well start out at a Grand National event so we know how we're squaring up against the competition. And then you're like, well, hell, we ended up getting a 2nd and a 3rd at that first event, so we're actually tied for 1st in points. We got to go to the next event. And before you know it, you're running a whole damn season with a 4-engine tractor. That's how it goes. I always tell everybody, I'm like, that 2-engine tractor class is a gateway drug for people to be sucked into the addiction of 4 and 5-engine tractors. And it's sick, and I love watching it, but I just don't want one.
I was going to say I have the perfect name for Bruce. When he does it, we'll call it the gateway drug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm so 60 people. Fans probably know this, but probably don't know it because we don't talk about it. I don't think we have. The NTPA rules are 6,200 pounds, which is, light. Obviously, it's called a light modified, but the Outlaws have rules 7,400, which I think obviously they can let some turbines and some 3-engine Chevrolets. I'm not totally sure in the rules, but there's probably as more 7,400 2-engine tractors than there are 62, or it's probably close right now. So from my standpoint, we're going to go run our tractor 7,400 probably, I guess, 3 more times. I'm curious to see how much different it is between the two for us.
Well, you're clearly going to have to ask everyone what gear ratio they're running, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people, we hear some people leave them alone. Some people change. I mean, who knows? The other part,
I think they did that at the Pullers Championship.
If they tell you they leave them alone, then they're probably lying to you.
This goes back to some mini rod thought process, but like, if you can't run a full drawbar, should you put weight in the back?
No.
Okay, that's kind of what I say, but
yeah,
there's only so much weight you can pile that thing at that weight class. So I don't know.
I'm not the smartest puller for sure, possibly the dumbest, but I would dare say that don't begin to lower your hitch until you have every bit of movable weight you have on the nose of the tractor and you still can't keep the front end down to a comfortable, confident level, then lower your hitch. But I'm no genius, so yeah. Well, Adam, what are your thoughts on that topic?
I'm new to getting to run the hitch up a little higher than I normally did, so yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, 1,200 pounds is a lot of weight, but if you can't run full drawbar,
you got me-toss tires, brother.
Yeah,
well,
there is the old theory of, like, I used to hear people say, like, no, you got to run a low hitch in a fast gear, and you got to run the low hitch so that it will pull the gear, but then you got to load weight on the back so that, you still get it to hook. And I'm like, boy, I don't know about all that black magic and witchcraft, but I mean, I guess if it works, it works. It's all a combination, but I've never been smart enough to figure that out.
Yeah. I haven't figured it out yet. I mean, my stuff doesn't run if the front end stays on the ground. So, I don't know. Maybe we should ask Ken Vinny. The guy's got it figured out.
Yeah, Ken does somehow just make a pass with his front end on the ground. He must be coming
headers.
Oh, is it the headers? I don't know. I feel like he's got a different angle of approach the way, he's getting down the track there. But, he makes it work. I will say that.
He definitely got a different angle. I mean, the guy's 85 years old and still kicking our ass.
Ass. I hated to see him have that driveline breakage at the Enderle.
Yeah, I know it. I asked him, I said, what was it? And he says, I think it came out of gear.
I think we may have a unique question we can comment on, and we're going to get to some more fan engagement. As a competitor, you guys need to demand better track prep and maintenance, like having all the Grand National tracks laser leveled, all the low spots filled and high spots cut off.
I mean, yeah, that would be nice, but I feel like the promoters currently do. I mean, they're all trying the best they can to put a good, consistent surface out there, and unfortunately, they miss it from time to time. But as competitors, we miss our setup too. So
even the best ones, Jim Miller. I mean, I put him in regard of, like, in Ohio and most places that he goes, he's pretty damn good, right? Like,
oh yeah,
he understands the water game pretty good, but he isn't paid, to be at every event. Should he be? Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like that would be a draw for a sanctioning body to say we are going to have him at every, major event and travel with the sanctioning body. I feel like that would be appealing to competitors to be like, I want to run that organization.
There we go. Read that comment.
Now, Taylor Phillips checking in. They can't even tell them how long the track is. Now you want it perfectly level.
Hey, let's talk about that for a minute.
You know what? Racing fan right
Marvin was adamant, and he said at the meeting that they're going to try to keep everything in that 350-foot range like normal, and they did. I'll give him that. Like, Lindsay won at 350, right?
Oh, so he
'Cause
told
that
you
was
how
a
long
big
the track
question
was.
for me. You show up to the Enderle pull-off, and notoriously, guys are running 450 feet.
That
right?
happens, yeah.
It does happen, and it puts on a hell of a show.
It does.
And you're in a mini rod that has one gear, and you don't know what gear needs to be in that thing until you actually get to figure it out. It makes it pretty interesting. But I think maybe if we keep pounding the drum a little bit, we might get that finish line.
Defined finish line.
Yeah.
A defined finish line. It may not end up like we want.
In the year of the 2-wheel drive, I'm saying that sarcastically. all classes they really go 350 foot. The 2-wheel drives go 300 foot, 301, I think.
Hey, you know what? As a 2-wheel drive competitor, just be thankful you got to compete, Chase.
Yeah.
Based on how the year
Surprised
started
you
out.
didn't get rained out because there was
There's a
rain
couple-
approaching.
There's a couple of people that said, "Why the hell they have us run 300 foot?" I said, "Have you not watched the class all summer?" Anyway,
Well, I gotta say, so if you guys haven't noticed, I'm wearing an Enderle hat, and I received a package in the mail from none other than Mr. CJ Grazik, Chase's former stablemate.
this would be a good lead into him making his return to Grand National pulling this weekend.
Yeah, former mini rod puller, and so it was kind of funny. He said he went to the postal office, USPS, and got some of those flat rate boxes to ship me the Enderle hats because hardly nobody wears them except for myself. And he's like, "Well, hell, I threw the hats in there." And he said, "I realized that I could fit other stuff in the box." And he threw so much crap in the box that by the time he took it to the post office, it cost him like $30 to ship the thing here. And so sorry, that was a little loud. What I got in this box, along with, said Enderle hats, was, I'll just roll through this real quick, a Snap-on sign, a Chevy, grill emblem, an expired thing of chicken ramen noodles, a battery terminal, that you can clamp a wire to, very useful. And don't take this one for granted. This is a Kentucky scratch-off ticket.
A used one.
It's actually a it was pre-scratched, but it's a $4 winner. So I now have to drive to Kentucky to turn that
Cash in.
There was a thing of Wendy's chili in
Didn't
there.
even know they make that.
So that's nice. There's a broken mirror from a car. So that was really nice to get as well. A thermostat. It appears to be of the small block Chevy flavor, if I'm being honest. This is kind of nice. He claims they work. It is a set of LED headlights, bulbs.
I have the same ones.
Clearly used, but he claims they work.
I have the same ones.
A couple of half 13 bolts. I think they're half 13. I don't think
those are torque to yield bolts.
Yeah, I haven't used them yet. An applicator for what appears to be perhaps some PVC primer or glue. 2 of those actually. An expired thing of some sort of medication. There's some in there. Haven't taken those quite yet.
I thought you said it's going to go quick.
A valve stem. I'm rolling through them, Chase. Shut up. And a padlock, but it's actually got 2 keys and a thing of heavy-duty staples. So, it's just the kindness, even in the off season, from our fellow competitors.
I think there's nothing like pulling friends. I think this is a good transition to. You heard us mention people catching on fire at the Enderle. Adam, do you want to take this one, or I can give you what I hear?
So
versus this same guy who took the package.
It started out kind of dull, I think. We had the fire rolling there. Pisings have a nice
Friday night.
Elevated.
Right?
It was
elevated.
Elevated.
Fire. Yeah, it was elevated. Big. I think you could put about, I don't know. You could easily put about 8 gallon in that thing, I think. And
this is Friday night, right, Adam?
Yeah, we're strolling through. I plumb run out of alcohol. I actually had to take Saturday night. I took the remaining fuel out of the tank, pumped it out into a jug so we could burn it because we were out. We burned we burnt. Pisces, Kevin Campbell was nice enough to donate. Chase donated. We were throwing shots out at people, maybe trying to see if they'd bring over their fuel. I think some people wanted to keep their illegal shit at their trailer, but
stay away from that Nelson fuel.
So you have to, right? You have to let it completely burn out, right? You have to completely let it burn. Yes, you do. Okay.
at the last pull in Nashville, I dumped methanol onto Jared Nelson's fire while it was still lit because he told me I wouldn't, and my dad was very upset with me. But you can do it.
You can't
Go on.
do it. So, anyways, you have to light it, right? And alcohol is pretty interesting when you light it. You can light the lighter and you take your hand down and you can basically touch the fuel. Well, CJ, in drinking 35 Mick Ultras, I think his depth perception maybe was a little bit off. So when he dipped his hand in it to light, and when he lit it, he dipped his hand in it and his hand catches on fire. Well, what is fire? It's hot, right?
It is. Yeah.
So he started shaking his hand, and a few bystanders got some burns on their arms. Some guy got burned on his face.
Very nice.
CJ actually didn't get burned up that bad. It was about 3 other people that were burned up because of him. I think it put some people to bed early that night, but it was getting pretty crazy over there. We were really hammering the 90s country pretty hard, and I think we had a lot of sing-alongs, and a lot of people showed up. It was a pretty good time. I think I didn't see CJ hardly the entire next day, and he's out of shape. He just, if he's not around the scene for a while, he just can't take it. So
well, maybe he ate some expired ramen the night before, and that was just kind of
one of the
number on his tummy there.
One of the innocent bystanders is this guy named Snyder that goes with us. Yep. By the way, this is his first summer going pulling. He's had like 2 or 3 really misfortunate things happen to him. We can talk about it on another podcast.
Is that a cell phone? The cell phone usage?
Cell phone, it's this poor guy. Like, he's been through it, man. But he woke up the next day and his freaking side of his face is like swollen, like a fever blister. It looked fucking like it hurt bad. I said, "What the hell happened to you?" He said, "F and CJ caught me on fire." And I said, "What?" He said, "Oh, over," because I wasn't there. I think I was in bed already. Said, CJ caught me on fire and caught 2 or 3 of us on fire. I said, he caught you on fire. Then CJ come rolling out. And I said, did you catch people on fire? I said, "I reckon so." And I said, "What the hell? Like, what is wrong with you? Why would you do that?" He's like, "I just got a real alcohol problem." And I think he put himself in timeout for the day. I don't know if his wife knows this story, so he's probably getting ridiculed about now. But
he's going to get in trouble.
He was really good. He sat in a chair 97% of the night.
And stood up one time and caught 3 people on fire.
Yes,
it's that 3% that really gets
he
you.
He was hitting heaters on the. As a guy with the aux cord, as they say, or the Bluetooth connection, you're like rolling through songs. You're trying to keep the things going. You usually do a pretty good job about keeping it up, and then you start losing some of your stuff as you start drinking time frame, whatever things, and he starts throwing shots out on some of these heaters of country music, and he got a little bit rowdy. I think the sing-alongs got to him, and I think he got a little excited, went over to light the fire, and he lit a bunch of stuff on fire.
As the guy with the aux cord on the topic of on fire, I thought you were going to say you quick turned it to Alicia Keys, "This girl is on fire." But
no, I didn't. Actually, I just saw him shaking his hand. I had no idea, because I actually did the same thing later. Got a little bit on me, and it wasn't near what his was, but I didn't see that there was burn victims, right?
Well, that's not ideal. What do you guys think is more likely, that my small fenders get outlawed with NTPA, or that NTPA releases a statement on what's allowed regarding burning methanol in the pits?
Wasn't there something about elevated? Like make sure
it was elevated. It had to be elevated.
Oh, there is a rule about it needs to be elevated?
Yeah,
well, that's what they said. So my particular, and just for anybody to know, good thing Jim Miller was there, because we showed up and there were cracks in the dirt. It was been so dry. They haven't had rain in a month there. It kind of looked like. So we were very cautious. We had fire extinguishers bigger than some officials use, but
easy, Adam.
We were prepared. We tried to be smart about the fire.
Everyone's always safe. I mean, fire suits, everything you need. Like, it's never a hazard. Just sometimes shit happens, right?
Yeah, and maybe next time guys come to the party, they just wear their fire suits over there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. I will say we had a bonfire here this past weekend, and it kind of rained halfway through, and all my skids got wet. So we dragged my industrial shop fan out by the bonfire, and we had that blowing on high at the fire to really get things going. And what works excellent, and you might want to try this, is I filled like a 18-ounce cup full of gasoline, and I threw it on the back side of the shop fan so that it kind of atomized it out towards the fire. Excellent results with that procedure. I'm sure one of my buddies has a video.
How far was the fan from the fire?
I'll try to get a video of that and I'll show you next show. But I mean, we are 36 minutes in and we've got some things.
Speaking of, hang on, but my cousin CJ.
Yeah,
I think that was his third pool he went to. We weren't intentionally going to talk about him on this show, but he is a jack of all trades, man. Like this guy. No, so that package he sent to you, Tyler, didn't know about that. He catches people on fire. But I also went – this is like breaking podcast content for fans.
Oh.
I went to his house a couple weeks back, and he has this black – y'all heard about this black box TV shit? I mean, This is wild. So he has these black boxes he buys from somewhere. He's probably going to be locked up by the feds tomorrow where you hook it up. It's a streaming device where you can watch, Netflix, Hulu, all that other stuff. And there's a
Full Pool Live.
Full Pool Live. There's a couple jailbroke fucking apps on there, and you can watch any movie in the history of movies. You just go in there and search it, and you watch it.
Chase,
it comes with the risk, Chase. It's called they know everything about your family, your identity. They know everything about you.
I don't think not with this. You don't even have to do a login. You just get on there. And you can watch anything in the history of TV.
But this is all theoretical. This isn't.
This is I have one. I have two of them.
Chase, don't say anything incriminating though on record.
How many black boxes do you have?
Yeah,
a couple black boxes. Anyway, this guy he's always on the front end of all the new things coming. They'll probably be shut down before long, but you can watch TV, movies, series, anything for free.
2 weeks ago, I'm standing in the back of my shop. I'm blowing out the I call it like the dirty area where we do a lot of manual machining and stuff, and I'm blowing it out, and I turn around and there's this guy standing there, and it's CJ. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? He's like, well, I had to come get a truck frame. He buys vehicles and he fixes them up. He's super talented at doing that. He came and got a truck frame in Evansville, and he decided to stop by without asking, which is I wish people would. You know what I mean? Like he shows up and we sat down. We talked for a couple hours and he went home. But pulling is not the same if that man isn't around.
Yeah, we miss him.
It's a lot more riskier. So black boxes, you heard it here in the No Practice podcast. I don't know where they're from. Message me. I'll try to find out. But CJ, I'm sorry if we got the wife and the feds on him after this podcast.
It's going to be for sale at the Full Pool trailer at the next event. Mm-hmm. Chase is just going to start selling those too.
Yeah.
So one announcement, we have guests we haven't talked about yet. We have a Shane Kellogg, the defending four-wheel drive or the recently crowned four-wheel drive diesel super stock champion, will be joining us, and we have another fun segment coming up. But as we're transitioning to this out of season phase, we're going to amplify the fan engagement up for you guys and try to do some more fun stuff, and look for an announcement for the next episode of the No Practice podcast regarding the fan hotline, which I know we've had before where you can call in, but we're going to start rewarding you for calling in, meaning if you call in, we use your clip on air and answer it, you will be getting some official No Practice podcast swag sent to you. So as the podcast grows, so do the gifts for the fans. So keep a lookout on that. And then also any fan ideas of people you want us to get on this podcast, reach out to any of us, reach out to Full Pool directly. We're working on a roadmap the next few months of who we want on here and try to, get the who's who of pulling, and make sure we want to cover a lot of spectrums. But if there's always people out there we don't think about, please send us your recommendations, and we normally listen. So I think we got our next segment coming up here backstage. the return of the fan favorite Man I Wish There Was Practice, we can go ahead and do the intro and bring on our next guest, or our first guest.
Our first guest.
So
if we have an intro ready.
if we
In
have an intro
5,
ready.
4, 3, 2, 1, and
The No Practice Podcast. Man, I wish there was a practice segment.
Oh my God!
And without further ado, we bring on Matt and Kevin McNult. Gentlemen, walk us through
Yes, sir.
the events of the past we are witnessing right now, if you could, please.
It's just the last pull of the year didn't go
You
too
know,
bad.
that happens from time to time. I threw the rods out of mine, and it kind of seems like you kept some rods in the block, but the block not in one piece. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the block went to two parts. Yeah. I've heard that they do that in pro stock. Everybody has said that super farms don't do that.
Well, but it kind of looks like they do from time to time.
It looks like they do. Yes, that's kind of almost the way I was laughing, because I was, of course, when I was smiling when they stopped, I was it first, because everybody was worried about me hurt. Nothing happened. I didn't feel really anything. It just, the steering wheel disappeared out of my hands and the floorboard went out from under my feet, and there I was, just sitting there kind of looking at the mess.
My first observation was the fact that you're just grinning ear to ear while observing just chaos and debris in front of you there that used to resemble a functional pulling tractor. And now it just looks like pure carnage. I mean, what was going through your head in that moment?
Well, at the moment I said that, first I was sitting there just quiet and didn't move. And then they started panicking like there was something wrong with me, and everybody was saying. And that's when I realized, hey, hey, I'm fine. I'm just looking, because you're right. I'm looking at, well, I'm all right, but my tractor ain't all right. But this, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. They say, you need to go to the ambulance. No, I'm fine. I'm just sitting here looking at my tractor.
Yeah, what you needed was a super farm ambulance, no doubt. So when that happens, this is obviously because there's just so much boost there. The block simply separates right above the pan rail, basically. Is that what's going on?
They just at the cam tunnel in the blocks. That's the weakest spot, right where the camshaft is in the bottom.
Okay, and that is an OEM block, not an aftermarket block?
Yes, yeah. Those are OEM
Are
blocks.
aftermarket blocks allowed?
Yes, I've been told. I've been researching this the last few days, and yes, there's a few of them out there with recast blocks. Okay. And so I said, maybe that's something we need to look at, because if they're going to break, I don't want to do this
now,
again.
Was this a situation where last pull of the year, you kind of bump that boost up a little bit more and you're like, oh, we've got all winter to fix it. What could go wrong?
No, really. I was thinking just before the pull there, I was just first, one thing I told the neighbor puller there, Rob Gervin, and I says, it's been running really good, because I just had my best weekend I've had ever pulling at Centerville, and then the first pull here tonight at the
Hills there with two firsts and a second throughout the weekend, so it was really good. And I jinxed them too. I said, well, we may not have to do much work this offseason.
Yeah, that's the kiss of death.
That's what happened.
That's why I'm really, because as they got to the end, I said, this thing isn't smoking, it's not running. I said, it's running really good. I says, I don't know. Maybe I don't need to tear it apart, and I can go to some of the winter events or something, because it's usually all broke and tore apart in the wintertime. And I'm like, well, maybe this year I'm good.
It tore itself apart, it looked like.
Yeah,
it had a little bit more torque because the deck height was a little bit taller.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got a lot taller for a minute there, didn't it?
Oh boy,
it certainly did. So now we get to start over. Not start over with the block. I think most of the
so is this comparable to like your wife saying like, "Hey, honey, I want the kitchen remodeled," and then like you're like, we'll think about it. We got to save up some money, and then like something catastrophic happens. Like, well, you have to do it now, right? So you're gonna remake the tractor, right? Just.
Yeah, I'm not one to give up very easy. Yeah. So I just we'll see what it is. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a whole different hood on it. Maybe it'll change change the whole look. I don't know yet.
Well, be careful with those 8R sheet metals. If apparently to some people on the internet, those are cookie cutter. So you probably don't want to go with that sheet metal. Just saying.
What's that?
The 8R, right?
Yes, the 8R. That's so common. I says I might go back old school. I got a lot of 4440 or 4640 or something like that.
Yeah, don't need a cookie cutter one. So make sure you get you something different.
That's what I'm just thinking. We'll see. I haven't picked one just yet, but there's a lot of those earlier series that could look really good too.
Matt and Kevin, obviously we are sorry that you had to join us on the No Practice podcast under these circumstances. I can't say that last week we were playing this segment with your all's tractor, but you're here anyway now. Your Super Farm pullers, tell us a little bit about where you're from, where you typically pull, and a little bit of your pulling history, if you don't mind.
We're up in Michigan here, and I don't know if you recognize Matt with me. He does a lot of the shows in Michigan.
He's the second best announcer in pulling besides Dan Mayer, right?
I appreciate that.
No, you do a great.
There's a lot of great ones out there, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was great. That's why the weekend was awesome because we did so good at Centerville, winning twice in a row, and I was talking with them after the pull, and it was a lot of fun. I was having it's part of the way it all ended, if you know what I mean. It's like, wow, this is the way, but it is. It was the last hook of the year, and I was like, almost to whatever. It's just okay. Now we know we're working on it.
How long you guys been pulling for?
I've been doing this stuff. I started with a V8 hot rod back in
early 2010s,
2010s area, and then shortly after there was this tractor here came around, and a guy by the name of Lee Butts. He's pretty well known, in Grand National, and he's one of my best friends at pulling and stuff. And he saw this tractor down to Ryan Salenbean's, and he says, "You need to have that. You're a John Deere guy." He said, and he's a red guy, of course, and he said, "That was pretty enough. I'd even drive it." He said, "if you didn't want to." So so I got looking at it, and that's where a relationship with them started, and got the tractor, and of course modified it many times over the years and improved things, and so on. I run the thumb tractor pullers. I do quite a few runs with them because that's where I run my V8 hot rod all the time. In that group, and I'm a board member of that group.
Still have the V8 modified?
Yes, I do. Yep, I ran that. I go to the thumb tractor pulls. They run up all over the thumb of Michigan and all the different county fairs there, and it's a good time. Get to run two different tractors, and
so
I never realized that. So when they say thumb pulling, it's literally because of the thumbprint. That's the geography. I've heard that forever pulling, but I guess I just never realized it's for the thumb in the state. I just thought there's some guy named Thumb somewhere.
No,
it's just a shape of that's where the group's based out of. They cover every fair and every Lions Club pull and all that kind of stuff in the whole area. They do about 20-25 pulls a year, and and
you can run Super Farm and
they got a Super Farm class there. They're not, some of the guys that run, Lee runs it occasionally, and some of the other guys that come to other pulls run there, and it's a lot of fun with that group too. So you get to run.
For most fans that don't know about, I'd say 70% of the super farms in the country probably come from Michigan, right?
There's a lot of them out here in Michigan. There's a lot of good guys in Michigan.
We were talking about that the other day. We said because we had this past weekend in Centerville Hillsdale, we had 13 or 14, something like that, running both in between the two nights, and that's we could count on our fingers 7 or 8 different guys that were broke and couldn't make it. We could easily pull 20 plus.
They're like
local Region 2
super high caliber tractors. Like you're not running against.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Ferris was number.
Yeah, you're running against very good company.
It's a region pull, but those guys could win the farm machinery show. Like it's all the same.
That's the bunch we run with Casey there that won the machinery show. I pulled with him this past weekend, 3 hooks with him, and
Shane Maston, who won the PPL league.
Shane Maston, he and I were having at it the whole weekend there. He was razzing. He couldn't believe I beat him twice there at Centerville, and he got me down there.
He probably got you at Hillsdale, did he?
He got me at Hillsdale. He went by me, and I just had to razz with him. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, though.
For sure. Explain it. So I was not fully aware of this. I guess I may have been, but NTPA and PPL have different super farm rules. Can you explain to us what the difference is?
Intercooled.
Mainly, you're allowed an intercooler in PPL, and we're not an NTPA, and that's. I mean, in a way, I've got friends and family in New York with super farms that run out where my family came from in New York, and I'd go out there a little bit. It's PPL all out there, so they run coolers, and I can't keep up with the coolers very often.
As a competitor, is it better, or do you think it would be better to have them or get rid of them?
Well, simplicity, it's better the way it is at NTPA, because I mean, to me, that's just one less thing to mess with. I don't have to mess with water and ice every pull and that kind of stuff. But you do make more power with the other way, and so it makes it so there's a little
probably a big discussion about the pro stocks with that. I see those guys like it's a small fortune to put ice in a pro stock. Now, don't get me wrong. Anybody that runs a pro stock, ice is the least thing they have to worry about.
Yeah.
No, they say that's the largest cost for operating a pro stock is ice, for sure.
No, but you got a bunch of pumps and another intercooler and all that stuff to fit under the hood, and you got another tank to take care of, and it's very doable. It's just another layer that you put on it, and a lot of the local guys, they just like the simplicity of just what we do, without.
So any itch of you to like now that the super farms broke, like, maybe we build a limited pro now.
No, not at all, because the Thumb and all the guys that would run in that group would not want it. West Michigan pullers, I go with them, and then there's always there's super farms everywhere I go. I could go to 60, 70 a year, no problem in less than 3 hours from here.
That's pretty sweet.
Trying to go to 60 or 72. It's like,
and about 4 or 5 years ago, I did hook it 67 times.
Wow!
You took that from Hooker of the Year from Bob?
Yeah, but that was this year a little different. I got to do some fixing now. I had some issues in the season, so we had some other problems. But back when it wasn't quite the power they have now, which is probably part of it. But shoot, all I did is change oil in it and add water and fuel to it the whole 67 runs.
Kevin, how does a guy like Shane Maston then go from when he comes to run with you all? What does he do differently?
Takes his cooler off and changes the turbo.
Gotcha. And how do you all run together? I guess the only time you run together is at the farm show, right?
Yeah, they run the farm show. You can't run a cooler at the farm show. So
gotcha.
Yeah, so they control that there. Okay. So no coolers. I mean, I'm personally, I'm not gonna. If that's what they decided to put them in, I guess that's what we do. But if they didn't, that's all right too. I'm fine with it.
I can't imagine going pulling without a cooler personally. I mean, that's key.
Well, that's what I said. Well, that kind of cooler, yes, sir. I understand.
So being a super farm competitor, do you live on the dyno like most of them do?
No, I'm one of the oddballs. I never go to the.
Well, yeah, you blow up too much.
Hell yeah, brother.
Track alone.
I love that.
No, I have people asking me like when it's get to, and I do have a good computer and data logger, and I look at that really religiously every pass, and I know what's going on pretty good. I know what feels right, and I can tell by numbers and stuff if there's something not right, or I need to try a little more timing or something, or a little less. And no, I didn't like how that did that, and I just do it old school.
Hats off to you, because I love that.
Yeah, I just
figure it out. I run it. That's why I go to the Thumb too. It gives me all these extra passes. I'll try this. I can go down to the dyno and make passes, or I can just go have a tractor.
I would say if you're hooking it 60 some times a year, I mean, I don't know that I'd really need a dyno either at that point, because I mean, I feel like while I like spending time on a dyno and I feel like there's information to be gained, I feel like nothing compares to repetitive, consistent track data that you can change one thing, see how it responds, change one thing, see how it responds. And unfortunately for us, we don't have, well, we could hook that many times, but we don't want to work that hard. So
it's kind of
I kind of agree with that. If I had to choose between a session at a dyno or 30 pieces of consistent data, I think of actually going down the track, I think I would take the track data over the dyno data every time.
What would you think, Tyler, though?
Sitting in the seat, it isn't near as much fun watching the dyno run. I'd rather feel it sitting in the seat.
I guess when you look about the dyno situation, you kind of look at it in two ways. One, if you make the most power, but you're not smart enough to beat guys with lesser of a power, right? Or you're underpowered, and you just think that you can't, right? Like, I don't know if you're, if
Well-
you make the most power, you're not smart enough to get it down there, but
I feel that when I go to the dyno, I never come back happy.
Yeah. A good
It just, you always go in there with big hopes and big ideas, and I can get it. Man, it felt like great. And then you go to your dyno run, it doesn't do what you think. And then you're all
and you
depressed.
hear these other numbers that are
And
made, and you're like,
and you hear other numbers, and you're all that. It's all a number. It says, I'll take that. We'll take the placement stack.
I think you should just say that, like, the adage is like, we don't race dynos.
Yeah.
Like,
a good friend of mine calls a dyno a lie detector.
Yeah, but you want to talk numbers, it's fine. But that doesn't always mean that's the winning one on the.
That is true.
And that's what I care about. It's the one on the winning slot on the ticket. That's what you're going for, right?
Well said, for sure. So compared to the V8 tractor that you run, I've heard in classes like that you almost get more cheaters and more whining. Would you back that statement up compared to, the level of competition you're running at with the super farm, or not necessarily?
There's places, there's complaints of that. You've always got your handful of people that just, I don't know, feel entitled or just, the ones that just, that have that attitude, if you know what I mean. But yeah, there's ones, but then there's other guys that we just, you're happy to do good as best you can with them, and you can go shake their hand. Hey, that's fine. It's a good run. Who cares? I'm fine with it. I don't get that. I enjoy winning, but I enjoy just doing the best I can.
Absolutely. How does the dollars invested versus the fun had compare to the V8? I guess I'm going to call it, for lack of better terms, more of an entry level class compared to the super farm.
Yeah.
How does that compare?
Well, it's definitely way more entry level. That tractor can be pretty. I mean, they break. I broke it last year and broke a piston in it. But the way it is, it's a small block 410. We're only allowed to turn at 7,000 RPMs with a single 4-barrel. And so, honestly, that's nothing. You on a decently built motor. So you can
about 5 years.
I run one 5 years. All it is change oil every year, and because it runs gas, we run a carburetor of gas. So the oil doesn't even get nasty.
Does everybody just run like LS based stuff, or is it more old Gen 1 small block?
No, they're starting to get a little LS based, because for a long time you couldn't run anything but iron heads. Recent rules, we let them run. They let them have aluminum heads, and that allowed the LS stuff in there. My motor is still old school. Small block Chevy with 14-degree RHS heads on it, the old cast 14-degree heads. But that was the good stuff for the time. That 10, 15 years ago, that was the best stuff you could buy, as far as flow and power and stuff. I mean, I know LSs are a little better, but it's a good competitive group. We got 7 that come every week to the Pulls in the Thumb and to that group specifically. And every one of them's won this year.
Oh, that's
every
cool.
one of them won. It's you can't get your wallet out and bet too much on one or two people. There's a couple of us that are a little better, but you wouldn't want to bet a whole bunch of money on it. It's going to come by with the win on it, because you'll get they're a little wild. They weigh 5,700 pounds. Actually, the super farm is easier to drive in my book. If you
I would agree with that.
Yeah, he's run them both. Matt has, and that V8 is awful doggone sensitive, because it's narrow tires and it's lightweight, and it isn't as much power, but boy, it'll walk around on you real fast and get squirrely if the front comes up, if you aren't careful with those narrow tires.
Oh yeah, you get a V8 with too much power and light, and the front end up in the air. That's a good time right there.
Well, you're on 18.4 tires. It's not near the little things in the track affect you a whole lot more than the 24-inch tires do. Just because you're covering more area.
For sure.
So, but it's fun. That's how I started, and then I got to running. That's what I got going with one of those for a few years. Then I got into super farm, and like I said, I love going places. There's 3 weeks of the year I go almost every single night from about mid-July to just before Bowling Green. That week to the week before Bowling Green, I think we go
It's like 2 days off in 3
There's
weeks.
2 days off in 3 weeks. I go every night.
Every
till
night,
full summer.
Sundays through like the entire week.
So it could be one of
Yeah.
those situations where if you're not working on the tractor that much, and just changing oil and running it and doing all this stuff, there's a potential that you could make money pulling.
I wouldn't say make money, but I make enough money.
Pay
that
for the
it's-
fuel.
Well, let's put it this: a hobby. I don't want to give specific numbers per se, but I'll just say you make 20, 30,000 in winnings. How many hobbies can you go out and play with and come back with more
Do that
money?
with a boat, right?
You can buy a $200,000 boat. You can go buy a $200,000 boat that'll lose 50 grand in value in 1 year.
Right.
And ride that around the water, and you didn't get nothing but get to pay a lot of money for fuel.
Well, it all depends on how much beer you drink too, Kevin. That's a huge factor.
Well, I'm pretty inexpensive there. I don't waste any money on that. I'll put it in the
Yeah,
tractor
there you
pull
go.
it.
There you
But
go.
There you go.
Cool.
We all would be smarter doing that.
Yeah, as Adam turns his beer up. Yeah, guys, Kevin, Matt, appreciate you all joining us on the No Practice Podcast. It's unfortunate
Thank
under
you.
the circumstances, but you all are great sports. Appreciate you. The fans really enjoy this segment and hearing what happened. And best of luck getting the vehicle repaired through the winter. When will we plan it? When will you all be back on the track?
well, I know I'll be first either thumb or whichever. Probably they usually have the first hook about the 1st of June. So that's kind of when I hope to go to do a test run on, before I come, and then you get to wherever the first region.
Was that
2
something
I'll
that
do a dyno
maybe
run.
so the pump's on that side of the engine, right?
Yeah, injector
on
pump. Yeah.
that side's kind of hard to see. If it did the crack behind the pump?
No, it's below the pump.
pump,
The pump
okay.
went right up the motor.
Yeah, I've just seen,
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to say
They
who.
didn't show a
I have a
picture, I
friend that
guess.
knew that their block was starting to get fatigued, and the same kind of thing. Yeah, we're going to go run one more time, kind of deal. The last time it lifted the sheet metal off of it.
I probably could have, you don't. I mean, I've run that tractor 450 runs since I've owned.
Wow.
And since I've owned it down the track. I've been down the track 450 times since I
I
bought
got
it.
3 tractors. I don't think I've pulled 450 times.
I've
Hey,
been down.
I got to ask you,
who?
who in the hell did you steal them weights from there on the front of next to them batteries? You take it off the.
Yeah, that's the old school way to get it fine tuned because I just have 100 pounders on it. So I
Hey, we
just
got the
had
gym at
some-
the house here. I got to take some weights off.
The old junk weight. That was probably some scrap ones in an old house that was left
Oh
over.
yeah,
that
I
was
see them
cleaned
over there.
up.
There's like 3 of them stacked up there. So
That's how you fine tune the 10 pounds to get it to where
I like
you're
it.
right on
it's
for
a
the
nice touch.
9300.
Nice
But
touch.
there's places there was
You can kind of see it there. See that right there? That bolt
Yeah.
sticking up.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's about 7
Oh,
of
7
them there
of 'em?
actually
Okay.
on the right. Yep, I can change them there real quick. Take the nut off and take a few off if I'm
Awesome.
off. If the scales are different. But not Centerville, but over in Cassopolis one year, I ended up a couple of years ago. We had to run 4 times in one night because the way I got drops and changes. That was a little tough on it that day. It was awful hot, but the time you could get cooled down between runs because that's a lot of runs.
Right.
So usually it's one run, but that's good. The oil's all on the ground. Actually, it wouldn't have dumped much oil out except the cables cut the pan
No.
in half.
Yeah, we got to get rid of them cables.
Those cables. Gotta get rid of the cables.
Well, that's why I'm smiling because I didn't have the motor in my lap. So
The cables do work. 100%.
Yes, and I'm glad there's 2 because it almost cut one of them. in
Don't
2.
say that. Careful now.
There's tech officials listening. Don't say
Somebody's
that.
watching this show.
Well, no, I'm telling them they worked.
Oh.
It was just what it
Yeah.
needed. It worked excellent. Nothing gave, but you could see that if it was
Look at all the
just one,
safety
it might
equipment
have been-
working like it should.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. And nothing even touched me. It was just it all flew out there in a pile, and that was the end of it.
Awesome.
Gotta love it.
I'm thankful it's fine. I guess that's why I was smiling. I'm thankful I'm fine and it's all right. And it's just some iron. That's all it is. We can fix
That's
it.
right.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Well, hey, with the first hook being in the 1st of June, I'd say you've got plenty of time. You're going to get that thing tuned in and put her back in the dirt for another 60-some passes. So
That's what we hope for.
That's what I hope. Trouble-free.
That's right.
pass.
awesome, gentlemen.
Thanks for joining
Best
us.
of luck.
Thanks
for joining us.
We'll be in touch, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Man, that kind of makes me want to get a super farm. Just hearing that those boys can just rock 60-some passes and just change oil and just I mean, granted, they blew it apart at the end of the year, but 450 passes.
I'm most impressed.
Tyler, that sounds pretty enticing, doesn't it?
I'm most impressed that thumb is a reference to geography, not a guy that has an organization.
So, Chase, let's break this
Every
down.
person from
Michigan
is
is
uses their
like
hand.
a mitten, buddy.
Everybody.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, what was his name? Who was it from? I kept saying it was from Michigan. They weren't from Michigan.
Ryan DeBro.
Yeah.
He tried telling me that I
He's
said
from
he was
Wisconsin,
Michigan.
dude.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting. Good sports. That's anyone that can smile about it and keep it in perspective. That's a huge blow when something like that, literally a blow, but like a blow to your morale when you disintegrate a vehicle. So
I feel like people like that are like kind of almost like the backbone of building the foundation of tractor pulling, just driving around, putting 60 some passes in a summer on. And not only that, but they've also got like this V8 tractor that they're going around running. Like, hats off to guys like that. Like, sure, maybe they're not blowing up a motor every 10 passes like we are occasionally, but I mean, that is a time dedication to put in 60 some passes in a season. Like he says, he's just pulling every single day, sure, never more than 3 hours from the house, but when's the last time we hooked, 7 days in a week? That's intense.
I bring this up a lot. How many pulling events do you think happen in a calendar year? When I say like an organized event where people pay for a ticket or people pay entry, how many do you think happen in the United States, we'll call it, from garden tractors to everything? It has to be a couple thousand.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to count that, I mean, yeah, that's like saying how many
365 days
games
in a year, but I guarantee you on the multiple organizations, I mean, there could be up to 10 different sanctioning bodies putting something up a weekend.
Yeah.
I think we should do a running contest for fans of make a prediction, and Dan Mayer can count how many pulls there were this year.
I
mean, he could probably figure it out.
Dan, it sounded like you just got some more work to do, brother.
No,
I feel like on the next show, I want to find a sanctioning body of a Garden Tractor Pullers Association, and I want to talk to that guy for 20 minutes, and I want to talk to some guy from like an antique tractor sanctioning body. I just want to pick their brains, even if it's just for 10, 15 minutes. I honestly
actually should do that. But I mean, obviously racing is more of a conceptual, easier thing. Like racing, everyone knows what racing is. Not everyone you talk to knows what pulling is, but whenever you're talking to someone, like, look, there's thousands of these events in the country. There really is. I mean, I just don't know how many. I mean,
yeah, but you see the videos where there's like some guy that's got like 3 Gixxer 650 crotch rocket motors mounted on like a lawnmower style chassis that's just screaming the thing going down the track. Like that's kind of cool.
I've always been intrigued by the little diesels, like the miniature mini rods with the diesels on them.
I want to talk to that guy a little bit.
Where I'm from, and I've actually asked CJ this, like truck pulling, it's interesting, different parts of the country. Certain pulling is huge. Obviously, in Michigan, super farm's big, but truck pulling is really big in Kentucky. And where I'm from, or my dad and CJ, they have a facility where they pull. I've said this on this podcast before. They pull literally from May until October every weekend. It's like a drag strip, and like they're religious about it. I need to figure out how many times they pull a year there because
that's what you got to realize about dirt track racing and drag racing. Just because you see an event show up at a facility one weekend and they have an event there, they're usually locals are always racing there, like every weekend.
Yeah.
Like think about it. We never go to the same event twice in the same year. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at NASCAR and drag racing. Those guys actually visit most tracks twice a year.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't do that, but
it's been like, don't you all think like this is a pretty cool topic? I don't think we've ever gotten this before. Like different pulling in different parts of the country, like Kentucky 2-wheel drive pulling is king, right?
It was invented.
It's king, but like there's probably 50 2-wheel drive trucks that could go run at a Grand National or a Champions Tour level event and fit in just well. Maybe not 50, but up there. And like in Ohio's 4-wheel drives are really popular in Ohio. It's just funny how like different places, super farms in Michigan, different places in the country, certain classes are like very popular and more relevant. Maybe that's another case study for Dan Mayer to identify each state and where.
Dan, more work for you, Dan. Sorry,
I would
Dan.
say right in our little area. I mean, you've got Bruce and I's tractor, you've got Art Mendez, you've got Todd Boltman, and you've got Scott Van Antwerp. Boom, all within like 10 miles of each other.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of wild.
Iowa's a huge state for pulling. I don't know
Then that's just the mini rod class, Tyler. There's other guys that pull there.
I know we got Daniel and Jim Bosch. I mean, I went to Logan's the other day and I ran into him at Menards too. I see Tony Sietzma run into him occasionally. Super farm puller. I mean,
there's
pretty,
a lot of
pretty wild stuff. But anyway, I feel like an hour and 10 minutes in, we need to get to our boy here. Do we not?
We need to get to the boy because I think he was probably a pretty big movement in starting the diesel four-wheel drive class.
Well, he was one of the founding fathers, from what I think.
That's right. Yeah. So not only is Chase a champion this episode, and not only is Adam a champion this episode, as if I wasn't enough of a black sheep on this show, we're going to bring in a third 2025 NTPA Grand National Champion, Mr. Shane Kellogg, joining us on the show this evening. Shane, how are you doing, sir?
All right. How about you guys?
Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good.
Sorry we're running a little delayed here.
Yeah.
Nope, you're all right.
We go in some rabbit holes as if you can't tell. And like, you are one of the founding fathers of diesel four-wheel drive truck pulling. So let's just get right into it. How the hell did you get going in a diesel four-wheel drive pulling truck? Because it's still a relatively new class, like in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a founding father. Guys like Van Hazley and Eric Stacy and those guys, they were doing it long before I was. Probably a good 6-7 years. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm still around with those guys. So been around for a while. I started in 2007, started building a truck in 2006, so been doing it for a while. But yeah, just always what I wanted to do, have a four-wheel drive diesel truck.
So how did that start? Like in high school, did you have like a 93 first gen Dodge that you were just hopping up, rolling coal like the kids were doing? Or how did that interest get peaked enough to where you were going to dedicate, so much time to that?
So I actually had a 98 Dodge diesel in high school. So
12 valve or 24 valve? That was the year of the switch.
24 valve.
Okay.
So, yep. But I got one of those in high school and just actually didn't have that truck for that long, and then went kind of the black side, went to a Ford, and then started stock. I think I pulled that Ford like twice, just stock pulling, like 10 mile an hour, boring as shit. Just,
like 7.3 Ford. What kind of Ford we talking here?
7.3. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. Was this at like a county fair, Shane?
Yes. Yep. Just local stuff. And then started dumping money in that thing. And I was like, I just figured out real quick that, man, this is dumb. Like there's dumb. And so started looking, that was them. They had 2.6, 3.0, and then super stock diesel. And like, man, if I build a 2.6 or a 3.0, I'm going to be selling parts in 2 years for 25 cents on the dollar and wanting to go super stock. So we just started building super stock then.
I love it. I love it. So you're running the 7.3 and you're like, God, this is stupid. How much money I'm sticking into this. I got to see how I can take this to the millionth X of what I'm currently doing.
Yeah, and really didn't get too deep in that 7.3. It was just kind of stock pull it with, tuner and stuff on it. It's like, all right, something I want to do. Let's just, go to town on it. And
do you still have it? Do you still have that truck?
No, man, that truck got put through the ringer. Like,
yeah.
No. I think I change vehicles sometimes more often than I do underwear. So like,
wow.
I've had a ton of trucks. I mean, just, kind of a wheeler dealer. So.
Which comes up to that. So you build the gotta have it, right? And which somebody asked, want to know how you came up with the name of that. Maybe one of the most famous trucks of its time when that truck came out, because it won everything, right?
Yeah. So there was actually two generations of gotta have it. There was the first generation, which was a 1997 Dodge stock frame chassis. Started out the very first year I pulled it, had a steel body on it. Had probably 1,250 horse, I think, is what it ran on the dyno. And I ran it for one season like that. The next season I put a fiberglass body on it. Got my first win on that truck the next season in 2008. And then the following year, 2009, I had Steve Barker build me a tube frame chassis. And that was the Gotta Have It truck that everybody knew. And I think I had 8 national titles and 1 state title on that truck. So
yeah, and then you sell it, and everybody in the world thinks this guy's the dumbest guy on the planet for getting rid of this truck.
Yeah. So yeah, that's and I knew when I sold it that if it got in the right hands, I was going to chase it a little bit. And so my buddy Nate Bowes up there at Sandridge, Customs, he wanted to do a chassis and had never done one, and we kind of had that truck sitting in there and had them set side by side and made the changes that he wanted to make on it. And then, just kind of took off from there and, had DOT scales in there and set them trucks up identical. And that Trump truck, it wouldn't get out of its own way the first 2 years, until I finally thought, all right, we got to scrap this setup and we got to start, taking big swings at stuff, and kind of found a setup that it liked, and then just started tweaking from there. And now I feel like hands down the Trump truck would walk all over the Gotta Have It truck.
Sure.
But it's it's driver based too. So
What year did you make that move, Shane?
2014 is the year that I sold Gotta Have It and built Trump.
That's right. So for those
Gotta
paying attention, Shane named his truck Trump before there was any presidential tie to that name. Isn't that right, Shane?
That is correct. So, 2014, we had a pile of tubes on the floor in May. A guy walked into Nate's shop in June, and kind of funny, Gotta Have a truck, and he wasn't leaving until he had it. It was crazy. I never thought somebody would give that much money for a rolling chassis, but he wrote a check, and he's like, all right, we're high gear on this other one now. And I promise you that nobody will ever build a truck that fast, because it was me, Nate, his brother Jake, and then I had 3 or 4 of my buddies that helped build Gotta Have It: Nathan, Brian King, Scott Snow, Curtis Reichley. We had a crew on it, and we knew we wanted to have it at Bowling Green, and we rolled it out and went to Sandusky the 2 weeks before BG. So that was early August, So it went from a pile of tubes and on June 1st to we hit the track with it first week of August.
So you're not like these other people that just write a check and then just kind of pick everything up. You were actually intimately involved with the building process, or did I just kind of backhand you?
No, I was with every truck I've had, and I've always, I've watched some of your guys' stuff in the past, and you're definitely right. You can buy them way cheaper than you can build them, it seems like.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like you're really missing out on your setup and wrenching on it yourself and everything when you don't do that,
Yeah.
When you don't build them. So
rumor has, I just remember this for whatever reason. I just remember when you sold the truck, everybody's like, what is he doing? That truck's dominant, which if you're getting rid of a truck, you get rid of it when it's running the best, you get the most money for it, whatever. Right. And somebody's like, you just put a Duramax in there.
Right.
The guy put a Duramax in.
Well, so the guy, that's why he wanted a roller. He come in the shop and he says, I want a truck like that. And I said, well, better go look for one for sale. And he's like, or no, he said, I want you guys to build me one, but he wanted to go pull them that summer. I was like, yeah, that's not happening. It takes a year to build these things. And he's like, well, I want to go pull them this summer. I was like, well, you're going to have to buy one that's already built. And he said, well, sell me that one. And I was like, I don't want to sell it. I'm leading, I was leading points with it again. like, at that time, like national points with it. And I think I was actually leading PPL and NTPA at the time with it. And he made me an offer on it that I couldn't refuse. And so that kicked us in high gear. But yeah, he said, I don't want the motor. I'm going to put a Duramax in it. And I kind of snickered and I said, well, at least I don't have to worry about that thing ever again. Like,
Greg Dickey would take offense to that, Shane.
All right. He would.
And Kyle Michael is probably the one that really started all that stuff, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Kyle was definitely the pioneer of the Duramax stuff for sure. And then, Kuslik come along shortly after him, and they were really trying the electronic side of the Duramax. And I don't know if I've ever seen anybody work harder than them guys do it, keeping something running and trying to get to the top. And they finally scrapped the electronic stuff and went to, a P-pump version of it. And, man, that thing runs good now. Real good.
So can you explain to me what it takes to be a four-wheel drive puller to come off the line as hard as Kusliks do with that thing?
Well, we've had in-depth conversations about this a lot. And and I understand like mini rods, especially that's how you have to drive them. There's no other, I don't think there's any other way. But, guys like him doing what he did this year, I assume it's like any other thing that's diesel driven. Like you creep on the clutch and you load the chargers. Once the chargers come to life, it's ready to go. And, I'm on the clutch for probably 25 feet in mine. Like I know guys stay on it a lot longer than that. I don't, because I say I can't feel if my truck's hooked in unless I'm off the clutch. I step off the clutch and drive it with the throttle.
Right.
He's a lot more, he gets on top of that thing, and when he clears the clutch, it's full throttle. And
25 feet, the thing's like full song.
Oh yeah. I think those guys are running close to a 90 mile an hour gear. And I think my gear's somewhere in the 50s. And that's what I've always said. It's like, maybe you guys agree with me, maybe you don't, but it's like, I know on any given night, I need to go about 34, 35 mile an hour down the track to win. Yeah. Why do I have to turn my tires 90 to get there? I don't. I feel like, and maybe I don't know how it works in tractors and minis and stuff, but the slower my tires are going at the long end of the track, the better it'll finish.
Well, the adage is like, if you're going to pull somebody out of a ditch, you don't hook up to them and just mat the throttle.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Well, one is we see you getting a congratulations.
So that's what makes pulling great, is because there's slow gear ratios that work and there's fast gear ratios that work, but anything in between seems like you might be lost.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's very interesting. So I always like to ask everyone's gear ratio for fun and for knowledge on this show, but no one ever refers to their tire mile per hour as their gear. So is that like a standard term, like way to talk if full drive pulling, like he's running 90 mile an hour or 50 mile an hour?
No, I mean, it's hard because like you guys, I know guys that'll throw a gear in a truck that's, may change it by 0.2 or 0.3 or may even 0.5, half of a point of final. And it's like, dude, you realize you can do that with 200 RPMs? Like you're not doing shit. Like,
right.
No, so I
kind of like that reference, because if you get somebody with like Chase, that runs a short stroke motor, and he's turning a shit ton of RPMs, but his gear is way different. And it's just like, all right, well, what kind of tire speed mile an hour are we talking comparatively? Because we might actually be spinning our tires the same speed. He's just got a far greater reduction, more RPM, but how fast is the tire actually turning? So that's a new one for this show, but I like that. I'm a fan, because if Chase is turning a 13-1, I'm running a 10-1, but he's turning 9,600 RPM and I'm down at, 7,900. Well, what's the tire speed difference really on that? And especially in your guys' class where you get the V8s and the Duramaxes, that spin faster compared to the Cummins. Like, I kind of like that whole mile an hour thing. I think you're onto something there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of what we've always based it off of, because you'll have trucks that's turning 5,000 RPMs. You have trucks that's turning 6,500, and the RPMs is what really matters on that wheel speed.
Shane, is that like something everyone goes by, or is that just how you talk?
I don't know. Probably just the way I talk, I guess. I don't know.
Well, Adam and Tyler, when I'm talking to y'all, I'm not saying gears. I'm saying mile per hour from now on.
No, I look at that, dude. If like I have a
90
chart,
tonight.
I have a chart, and there's an equation to figure it out. How fast the tire speed is. I mean, you can either have wheel speed sensors on your vehicle that tell you, and you can do the math and equivalent things out, or you can do it mathematically with RPMs and tire circumference and gear ratio. It's a really interesting thing, because in my mind, when I'm watching a vehicle go down the track, the only thing I'm paying attention to is the tires. I don't pay attention to the front end. I don't pay attention to hardly anything. I just look at the tires. And you can tell guys that are turning the tires, and you can tell that guys that aren't. And there's a big difference in it.
I'm not as smart as all these math equations. I just like the lingo of saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going this mile an hour." That maybe the new trend to say.
But like Shane said, though, the fact of the matter is you're only running 32, 34, 35 mile an hour down the track.
Correct. And now you're going to have to work in tire circumference too, Chase. So you might have to work on that.
Small tires. When they say small tires, everybody thinks we have small tires. They have very small tires.
You've seen me do math on this podcast. It ain't the time to bring that up.
No, it's not very good for Chase.
Speaking of tires, Shane, I've noticed on the diesel four-wheel drives, we're seeing that curvature of the front tire bars.
Yep.
Talk to us about the development of that, because I feel like the four-wheel drive class is really only where we see that curvature to the lug on your tires. As a mini rod competitor, is that something I should be trying, running that curvature? What have you guys seen as far as advantages?
Well, that was kind of a Bob Nichols deal. He started that, and when he did that, his thought process, I believe, was to get the dirt away from the rear tires.
Because you're not allowed to deflect the dirt, correct?
We are not allowed to deflect. No, not with a mud flap or something like that. That's in the rule book. But with a cut on a tire, you can get rid of it. Whether it was doing that or not, like I ran a set of straight cut tires at Sandwich on the front end, at Sandwich and at Enderle, and I won both with straight cuts. So to say it's doing, I mean, you watch it, and it's the dirt's just coming off of them so fast, it's hard to tell where it's going. So
right, because
you look at back in the day, Tyler, you look at like the blower four-wheel drives in Ohio run with the diesel trucks, or at least they tried to do it.
Yeah, the old run what you brung.
See guys out there with the old C-Pecs with like the old like tractor lug on them and stuff, and going, how are these guys doing this?
Well, it starts at a more aggressive angle, but I feel like it almost ends flatter than what we're normally used to seeing on that straight cut lug. So I've always just kind of wondered.
Shooting the dirt outward is what the idea is.
God, that's going to make me ruin a set of tires, because I want to get a piece lasered out and just hot knife them sons of bitches at a big curvature like that.
There's a lot of tire options for you all, right? Like compared to most classes?
I wouldn't say really. I mean, I think it's really in between Nichols and Mayhill. That's what everybody's running. Now, when you say that, makes the tires, but there's, Nichols has a 4,000, a 5,000, a 6,000, a 6,100, a 6,200. So different stiffness of sidewalls. Yes.
How do you feel about all the choices, good or bad?
I joked with Bob at I don't know whether it was at Enderle or whatever, and I said, it's about time for a 63, isn't it? Make everybody buy a new set of tires. And, I mean, it almost seems like to me that I think we do need a stiffer sidewall tire. You see our trucks bobbling a lot. Sometimes our class has a lot of problems. I think that does come from a little bit of weakness in sidewall, and guys say, well, you just need to put more air in them. Well, or we took big swings at it both ways, and it I actually talked to Bob. I was like, man, is there any way you can get me a set of stiffer tires? And he said, no, I can't. He said the people that are making them for their machines are maxed out on PSI right now, what they can put in the molds or whatever. So, but yeah, tires are part of the game. And, Eric and Stacy and I, we run really close together. So he has a Sandridge chassis too. And his truck is the closest to mine. They act really similar. Like, we kind of go at it together, sharing information and what stuff does and how it works and whatnot. But we've had a lot of conversations this summer, and it's like, there's 10 different setups that'll work, but there's 100 different ways to get to those 10 setups.
Right.
And, whether it be tires or rake or, spring rate or, your hitch. And it's just, there's a ton of variables there in a 4-wheel drive truck.
How big of a change was the new sled?
Man, so it definitely upset our class. And, I would never throw stones at those sled operators because, sometimes we get frustrated with them. But
right.
I think those guys have harder time hitting their setup than we do. And ours is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Right.
And, just like you guys said before, when you got guys wanting to go 36, 37 mile an hour and 350, 360, you're kind of on that point of no return. It's if those guys miss it by 10 foot when they're on that line, they missed it, and
right.
And I'm the type of guy that I don't really want to pull off. I feel like whenever I go to a pull off, I've already won once. Like, I don't need to go win twice, Yeah. So, and plus I feel I'm a better driver than most in my class. And a 320 foot track favors me because, guys that are turning their tires 90 mile an hour, that don't favor them. A short track, right. They can't get going. So,
right.
I think if you look at
pulling generally out in this podcast, Shane, I'm very interested. Like, if I'm your competitor, like, that's how that fucker's kicking my ass.
Oh, that's
yeah,
all
but
right.
the fact of the matter is, Chase, he's really good at that distance, and they don't know what's good at that distance. Good luck trying to figure it out.
No,
well,
next
not
week
only
you
that,
could be at 350.
Enderle was 340, and I went 400 foot before and won. It's just, I don't know. Like, I talk to these guys, and I don't know. It's weird. They don't feel what I feel in the seat of my truck. They don't. They just don't. And until they get there, they're gonna have their work cut out.
I like it. I like it.
I love it. Well, we usually have all these humble people on the show that are just like, well, oh shucks, I just got lucky this year, and you're just like, yeah, well, I'm just a better driver than them, so that helps,
Well, I mean, if my setup's right, I feel like my truck's tough to beat, but there's always
we're talking about the sport of pulling, where if you don't have a little bit of confidence, you probably just need to stay at home.
All right. Yeah. Yep, I agree.
So now let's switch gears a little bit here, Shane. You quite the happy-go-lucky prankster guy. Can you maybe tell us about some of your off-track things that you may have done to maybe your chassis builder?
Oh man, I've done. I don't know what you're referring to, but there's
you do. I think there's a roundup.
There's so much. There's so much stuff. Are you talking about his yard ornaments I gave you?
Yeah, the roundup.
No, it wasn't actually roundup because
was it fertilizer?
Yeah. So
see, I heard it was fertilizer, and then somebody told me it was Roundup, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it was fertilizer because it grows first and then it dies.
Didn't really die. It's just bright green and it's 3 inches taller than the rest of the whole yard. So it sticks out like a sore thumb. But I would, Nate, if you've ever been to his shop,
sticks out like a boner in sweatpants, maybe is a good reference.
Yeah, exactly. But you could eat off that dude's floor in a shop. I mean, just so particular, so fussy about stuff, and he's the same way about his yard. And so he was gone one weekend, so I took just a gallon jug and drilled a few holes in the top and put like a quarter full of 28% fertilizer and then filled the rest with water. Because if you mix fertilizer too hot, it will burn.
It will burn and die.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, I did a really good job freehanding too, because I was like walking in his yard just pouring, trying to draw the shape of a dick, you know. And you can see it from Google Earth. It was so bad.
Do you have a picture of it somewhere?
I don't know whether I do or not. It's deep.
I saw
someone who's watching. Please text us a picture of this.
So just to be clear, you fertilized the shape of a penis in his yard, and it grew so prominently because you nailed the
yard
mixture.
ornaments. There was an S on there.
Oh,
S.
there was several phallic bits of genitalia in his yard.
Was there several expressions of genitalia?
No, just that.
Same shape.
What's that?
Same shape, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
What was his reaction when he found that out?
You know, because it takes a while. You got to get a couple rains and stuff, and it was like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. I was sitting on my porch at home. You know, kids are running around, and I get a text from him. Open it up, and it just said, "You son of a bitch," and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Don't what me, you know."
How did he notice he was just growing that much taller? I mean, it was.
Oh yeah, I mean it was plain as day, and you know his shop kind of sets on a hill, and his yard goes down, so you could eyeball it and see it. So
you could eyeball it very good.
Jump right out of you.
Is that the best prank you've ever pulled?
I'm sure there's better ones, but probably none I should tell.
I had to bring that up, dude. I remember hearing that. This was years ago when this happened.
Yep.
And now that I know Nate better than I did then, because it was just getting passed along, you know, to like some other pictures out in the pulling world get out, but like it gets passed around. I was like, that's the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I think they're
now that you're saying it, I think you might have been along on that trip too, Adam. But I showed up to BG one year, and I think you might even been along. But you know,
I was
always hang out with Lisa and Larry, and all them guys. I think you guys were out bowling or whatever, and I went looking for you. Yeah, you remember that prank?
Yeah. All I seen was I got this. Oh my god, this is what I got, and then like. So we're hanging out and we're bowling and stuff, and there's this video that comes up, and there was effort put into this because this dude had to crawl into this trailer, get up into this truck, and he's panning around, and there was something on that video that caught everybody's attention very much. Like Lisa maybe went to the Simpson guy the next week or next day and bought a new neck brace because of it. But it's the funniest thing I've ever
pretty graphic.
Yeah, that's a top fiver there for sure.
It's a top fiver, absolutely.
Yep.
He did say he was a better driver than the rest of the guys in his class, so he did. Goes with that.
I think he was trying to get in that Sandridge chassis and show him how to drive it. Is what he was doing.
Yep.
So Shane, obviously, with all of our guests, you know, we get plenty of requests and old stories and history and info. So we engage you on something you're not prepared to hear. Just don't hate us, hate the people that sent it.
No,
I was told, gotta talk about the glory days of Scheid, and a fist fight with Carl Atley, cars getting flipped over and so forth. I don't have a lot of context, but I think it's good to go from one graphic scene to another, more family friendly. So can you allude to what this message I was told to ask is about? Scheid and Carl Atley. Cars getting flipped over.
Back when the back in the say early 2000s, mid 2000s, even like up through like probably 2015, like the week after Bowling Green is the Scheid Diesel Extravaganza, and I mean it was very, very similar to BG. I mean, a lot less people, but a lot younger crowd. It got out of hand. Like it was a blast. And if that pole ever goes back to Terre Haute again, like I'll go. Like it, man. And I'm sure it won't be the same, but man, it was such a blast there. And The very first year we went there, this was with the stock chassis truck. Got to have it. My buddies thought it'd be funny. They packed like a rooster in my t-shirt box, like a live rooster, chicken, like chicken. Yeah, and the damn thing hung around the trailer all weekend and would roost on the bed rails or the side of the bed on the pulling truck and sleep and like yeah. And it was a funny, just an ongoing story. And then, the next year, which would have been the year that was the first pull I won, the extravaganza ever.
Really?
Yeah.
First one ever.
Yeah. And they had you guys, I don't know where you remember him or not, Dave Rodzirez. He had the first diesel powered monster truck, but he was rolling in there to do cars and, to smash the cars and everything. And man, we got ripped down one night, went out there. I mean, there was so dense fog that year. I mean, it was dense. And we went out there and back then, you guys probably don't know, but I had a crew guy. His name was Nate Darriner, and he was big. It's not bigger than me. And then, I always had Scott there, and he's as big as I am. And then, a couple other guys. And man, we started grabbing them cars and rolling them on their tops and on their sides, like just grabbing hold of them and picking them up. I don't think they had an engine in them. And man, I know Dan Scheid's going to hear this and he's going to be pissed at me because he probably still not done it. But yeah, there was, yep. And then
hang on a second. Y'all took the monster truck cars and rolled them over on their side.
We just started flipping them by hand. Yeah. So, yeah, it was a good time. And then, another year out there, we with Carl Atley, when Corey used to pull with Carl, like, they were high strung and, and man, we were walking through the pits one night after the pull and, one of their crew guys, because that's when we had Gotta Have It, said something about on the lines of Gotta Have It, couldn't get it tonight or something like that. And one of my crew guys lipped off, and it wasn't 30 seconds. I mean, we were rolling in the grass, throwing haymakers. Like, we used to do it right back in the day, let me tell you.
Back when we were
that was a big deal. I mean, winning the Shy Diesel Extravaganza is comparable to winning the Bowling Green Ring or the Daytona 500 or whatever you want to put it. That was a big deal for diesel pullers.
Oh, yeah. Back, before we had BG, but so I got married in 2010 and I got married BG weekend. And when my wife set the date, I told her, I said, listen, chances are our class is going to get in BG and that's where you're going to spend your anniversary every year. And she says, I don't care. That's the only weekend open. So that's the weekend I got married in 2010. And then sure as shit, 2011, we were in there the very next year. And so before that, the extravaganza was RPG. So
right. So it's, I've heard so many crazy stories about Terre Haute, the Shy Diesel Extravaganza, but it's a good topic to maybe bring up. So why is it not there anymore? Can you does anyone know? Like,
I can tell you it was like 147 DUIs in one night there.
Those are good numbers. Yeah. Those are great numbers.
Is it true? I've heard that the city of Terre Haute said, don't ever bring these idiots back. Is that true?
There's probably some truth to that. I think though, and it's just like Bowling Green, the amount of money that brought to that town, I think they would probably take us back in a heartbeat. By my understanding, it was more of a fair board deal, and they were really trying to make all the money. I've heard since then that board is gone and there's new faces on there, and hopefully we can get back in there someday. Now, where they have it now, they have it at Wagler Complex now. And
right.
That's awesome. With a drag strip right there, and he's really put a ton of work and ton of money into it. It's awesome. The only downfall of his place is it's 45 minutes from anything. I mean, I feel like it's 45 minutes from a gas station. Now, I may be wrong, but I feel like that's the case.
Was some of the hype behind Terre Haute being that it was on, that racetrack, that dirt was really good for diesel trucks?
Oh, I mean, just look at, obviously the best track we pulled on all year was RJ's deal out there. And
right.
Man, the good clay's already there when you're on a dirt track. And that's what you was on at Terre Haute. I mean, as long as it was, prepped right, I mean, it was mean. So
you're right, because you guys really need a good tight moisture, but like there's not very many places you're going to go where we can agree like Farley was phenomenal. You're not going to hear that many times out of a mini rod puller and a diesel four-wheel drive puller. Maybe more than people realize, but not a lot. Like we get to a couple places, it gets too tight. You guys want that thing like asphalt hard.
yeah,
you can really put it down.
We almost want it to the place where we can hear tires humming. I mean, it's so hard as concrete. Now saying that, that's the tracks that you can just really tear after it, and you
can run one of those 90-mile-an-hours.
I think that's the place they work. I mean, they will work if they're going to work. And that being said, I fare better on a shit track. I do. I mean, just you got to drive it. So
it's that better driver thing showing through, and that's what it is.
Correct.
Right. Absolutely.
Shane, so you kind of got to it earlier, but the gotta have it truck, it's pretty legendary in diesel four-wheel drive pulling. Like, is that truck still? Where is it now? Is it still campaigning, or I don't?
Yeah, so it was actually the truck at Farley that blew the hitch out the back of it. It's called the Rumor.
Yeah, the one that got to that at that pole where they were teching hitch height at the end of the track.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That was just a dumb situation, and it turned out the way it did. But the way it turned out is we had one other guy that made it in the finals that than was supposed to. I think there was only supposed to be 10 plus 1, and then there actually ended up being 12 because they didn't want anybody to get their feelings hurt. Well, I can tell you, I got videos on my phone from 2 weeks ago at a OSTPA hook. Like when you're running a tower style hitch on a truck, the first thing that breaks is the adjusters. I've had it happen before. And and it's very, we've had eye bolts in the concrete, this is for setup purposes, eye bolts in the concrete, and you try to chain binder your truck down and try to figure out what's going to happen with the springs. And you can't duplicate the pull of that sled because your vehicle's trying to run away from it. So on a tower hitch, it goes up when the adjusters break, because I've had dents in my tailgate form up before. And when the tower hitch goes up, the front tires of our trucks come off the ground. They go to a 2-wheel drive truck. It's cool as shit to see. Like, I got some videos on my phone of it.
So what happened at Farley with 12 trucks running on Saturday? I guess I'm unaware of. I'm ignorant.
So the adjusters broke in this truck. The hitch probably
started bouncing, Tyler. I mean, it was
the adjusters broke. The hitch probably goes to 30 inches. The guy gets in the top 10 or 5, whatever he got in, but while he's finishing, he's just getting ready to spin out to finish, and the whole tower hitch blows out the back of his truck.
Oh yeah, gone. I recall that.
Yeah, gone out the back. Well, they never hitched us before the pull. It was you were on your own on the hitch pad. You got hitched when you come off the truck. You better make sure you're good. Well, you can't even check the dude. Like, how do you
didn't have a hitch left?
How do you not DQ that? Like,
well, that's what we were kind of getting to. Not like, there it is. Like
they just kind of grab it and kind of hold it in by the truck. And like, it was kind of about right here.
Look at that track, dude. That thing looks mean as hell. But I mean, seriously, the whole point of the Farley pull is at the end of the track. If your truck or tractor wasn't legal, you were DQ'd.
Right.
How could you not get DQ'd if there wasn't a hit? There wasn't even a hitch to measure in the damn truck.
Right. Correct. Yep.
So he got to pull on Saturday.
Yes.
Shane, explain to me, and fans, like when you're saying tower hitch, what's that mean versus like a traditional hitch or what a standard hitch is?
So like,
it'd be nice to get a picture, but maybe you can explain pretty well.
Yeah.
Is that a hitch that like is towers above the rear end? Like it goes up above the rear and runs downhill?
It's on hoops somewhere. It's got to be behind the center line of the rear axle. And in our class, because we're 158-inch wheelbase, it can be no more than 33 degrees from pivot point to hook point. So like, right there, the hoops, all the perforated holes you see in that hitch that's different adjustment holes if you want to run it and to take weight out of it. But a flat style hitch is, like exactly what you guys run on mini rods, and I'm pretty sure your 2-wheel drive trucks are like that too. So, I've never ran a flat hitch, and I've heard tell that they may be taking some angle away from us this year. Like, I've heard in the rumor mill that they may be going from 33 degrees to 25 degrees, which I do not like. But they think, I was told they think that's the reason a lot of our class bounces is because the chain angle
Who is they?
less
they?
angle than our hitch.
Do you
Maybe
agree
the powers
with
to
that?
be, I guess.
Have they
No, I don't. I mean,
ever owned a diesel
like-
four-wheel drive?
No.
Okay.
And
That's all I need
had
to
a
know.
lot of conversations with them, and they right, yeah. So I mean, but yeah, it's one of them things that they say that the steeper angle of the hitch is pulling up on the rear end of the truck.
Do you think they're right?
They.
No, I don't. I mean,
Okay.
I don't.
Guys been
I
pulling
mean-
diesel four-wheel drive trucks for a long time. You might listen.
Right.
Have they asked for your opinion?
No, but I voiced it, and and even took a knee right beside my truck and said, "Listen," and tell them exactly how things work, and it blows their mind. Like, nope, can't. That doesn't make sense. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just telling you, I've done it, and that's the way it works. So
I think
Roll that
guys.
rumor video one more time. There's a funny part of this. Y'all carry on. Sorry.
No, you know what happened right before this? Tyler Slaw was shotgunning a beer. Right as this was happening.
Very out of character.
I noticed this whenever I saw this video after the fact, but this is totally derailing you from your segment here, Shane. Sorry, but the funniest part about this is that the guy who unhooks the sled still goes out there to unhook it. There's nothing to unhook. Watch him right here in an orange shirt. Well, let me go and hook this. He's still got
to unhook it. I mean, he's got to unhook it from the hitch.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. That was a good moment to show the unhook guy. I guess he did technically unhook it. Look at that guy. Let me measure the drawbar.
What the Sam Hill?
Go back. Can we go back to show the guy trying to measure the drawbar to the track? So we got the unhook guy walking out there to unhook it.
And I mean, that night, I really didn't even say anything about it. And I made a shit pass, couldn't even get down the track, and I had no dog in the fight. So, I mean.
Pause it right here. This guy's going to he's going to go
You
measure
okay?
the drawbar to
We're
make it
fine.
to Saturday.
Yep.
Yep. He made it Saturday. He's good to go.
She gone.
All right. Sorry. Enough of that.
Looks legal to me.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So that's the gotta have it truck. Funny how one question turns into a funny segment there. And that does not have the Duramax in it anymore, right?
No, it never did. It actually,
never did.
So that was kind of the funny part of the whole story is the Duramax thing just hadn't come together quite yet. So dude actually ended up putting a Cummins in it. And I was like, oh man, I might have to worry about this thing. But I mean, when I first brought Trump out, that truck, it beat me quite a few times. And I heard it numerous times. But you wish we wouldn't sold that. But I knew we'd get there. It just took some time. So
absolutely. Do you feel your guys' class is at the point where you can still handle and use more power, or is everybody pretty much tapped out?
No, absolutely not. I've kind of given away some of my secrets here, but I've told Hazy, listen, he's an engine builder. Obviously, he's my engine builder, and that's what he does. He makes power and makes big power. I'd say if you strapped them all to a dyno, I'd say he'd probably be on top. I'd bet good money on it, on Van making the biggest power. But that's a lot of the reason that he looks at the tailgate of my truck a lot too.
Oh,
they won't handle it. They will not handle that. Start talking about small tires again. Now you see that the track you just looked at Farley, you made comment of how mean it was. Van won that night.
Yeah.
But how often do you pull on a track like that?
Not very often.
I've always said
when you went to Hutchinson, Minnesota, you weren't testing for Farley.
No. Good God, yeah, that place. Whew, yeah, that's
I seen you pulled right on the line. It was one of the videos we ran. And like, sometimes you got to get over on the line to get some traction. Look at this. This guy's like 8 inches off.
Well, you'll watch. It was start pulling me out of bounds, and I was like,
I know you really corrected it there.
I really had to rip it back to the left for it to go, and I don't know. It's you're almost trying to get off the track because the best part is not on the track. So
look at that thing. Ooh, that's pretty close.
When you're on a pass like
was
that,
better, wasn't it?
What's that?
Was Saturday night better? That's Friday night. Was Saturday night better, Shane, for you all?
Better, but still not good by any means. So,
Did you guys run
20.3 seconds?
Did you guys run at Rockwell the night they bladed everything off to the side?
We did. Yes, we did.
How was the track that night for you guys?
Oh man, when I seen the sled even start towards the track, I forget who I was even standing beside. I said, "This ain't gonna work. Like there's zero chance. Like that sled can't even make it down the track." And sure as shit, they tried to pull it down the track, and I knew it wasn't gonna work. And then they start blading stuff off, and they're blading dirt with a dozer that don't even have a 6-way blade on it. It just has a straight blade on it. And the thing about this is, I talked about the Kuslik boys, like they are gold for our class because like they even went up to them like 2 hours beforehand, like I think the promoter, and said, "Hey, we got a dozer with a 6-way blade with GPS graded, setting an hour and 30 minutes away. You want us to get it on the way? Won't cost you a penny." And their comment was, "Nope, this will be the best track you've ever pulled on."
Oh,
and I'm
confidence.
Like, yeah. Well, we were far from that. Love Rockwell though. I mean, if they have the right conditions, it's perfect out there.
Right.
So when you're on a pass like that and you're heading towards the sidelines, like obviously you guys have full hydraulic steering. Even under power, is it seemingly effortless to turn the wheel? Because like I've got a rock crawler with full hydraulic steering, and it's almost trippy to drive because there's not like that normal resistance you feel while driving a vehicle. How does that translate under power when you go for a sharper turn like that?
It's pretty effortless for the simple fact that we're damn near 2-wheel driving them trucks anyway. Like, everything's on the rear tires. You're trying to get all that weight from that weight box out front to transfer to the rear tires. And there just isn't much on those front tires going down the track. I mean, you say you're 2-wheel drive them, and then when you blow a front axle, it goes nowhere. But
it usually goes sharp left or right.
Right.
We've all seen that.
Right. Yeah. And RPMs usually go to 8,000 too. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's they steer pretty easy. So
I can imagine. So speaking of horsepower, I feel like there was a moment back in the day, like when diesels were really up and coming. This might be like 10 years ago. And it's more so when the dyno scene was getting big in the diesel world. And there's a lot of these guys that do, dyno events, and they would, so-and-so, made 3,000 horsepower. Wasn't there some sort of call out where you got on there and you told somebody that you'd, if they really want to put some money up, that you'll run your truck against them on a dyno competition and you'll bet X amount that you'll beat them by X amount of horsepower? Or am I just kind of imagining all of that?
No, there was some of that went on, and it was by a Duramax guy back then. And it's like they're commenting that it's like 2,000 horse, and I'm like, dude, that was 6 years ago. Where you been? Like, I mean, so, just like stabbing at some of them guys like that. And that was fun back in the day, especially, just, because it was a horsepower game then. And now it's like, I don't even want my shit going on the dyno now, because it never gets, but if you watch truck pulls back from 2009, 2010, a lot of guys would pin it and they'd go out to 100 foot and suck into the track. You'd hear the motor drop 500 RPMs.
Yeah.
And now it's like they got so much horsepower that that motor never gets loaded on the track, like hardly ever. And to why tie it down to the crank is, I don't mind doing, break-in passes or, hot retorques for, on the dyno, stuff like that. But to put 3 chargers on them and beat on them on the dyno, no way. Like, just not worth it.
How much power do you think somebody like Van is making if he decides to push that thing all out and just goes for a short stab just to get that number?
4,000, I'd say.
Wow.
And how much torque?
Well, I mean, having 4,000, like, it just depends on where RPMs are at. But man, you start breaking under 5,500 or 5,200, and that torque starts going through the roof. I mean, and that's when you tear shit up. Like, I mean, it'd be well north of 5,000. You suck that thing under 5,000 RPMs, and that's with that Van's just good at building power. I mean, he works on that stuff, but I don't even know that he's running triple chargers on anything. Like, I think he has the same. It's like a 4-1 charger that he runs on everything. That way, the same charger is on every motor, so he gets a baseline and makes sure. So that's probably the way to do it. So,
speaking of same charger, what are your thoughts on when there's rules and classes of the? Oh yeah, there we see a nice visual of the track there, Shane.
Yep. Put on your life, they said.
Did you lose your shoes
it's
there?
to the back of my knees, and I'm 6.
Unbelievable.
That would make a good freaking meme.
God, man. That'd be the best damn
Might as
track.
well be programmed for tile at that point, not sticking to tracks.
Right.
I love it.
It was so bad that they drug the sled around the other direction because it wouldn't go backwards.
Right. Yep.
Oh, you'll have that at times. What are your thoughts about like box turbos for a whole class, just as a blanket rule?
For like tractor class or what?
Yeah, like out of the box, everybody's got to run the same turbocharger, no options, one supplier.
I don't like it. I mean, that's part of the game. Like,
I would agree with that.
And that's what I've always said about, classes like diesel supers, whether it be us or tractors or I don't know how it works in the blown alcohol stuff, but it's like the classes that 10 horsepower matter, like a 4-wheel drive natural truck or a super farm, that's the expensive shit to get into. Because you're talking about paying $5-10 grand for 10 horse.
Yeah.
Like, and I promise you in our class, there's 2,000 horsepower difference in between some trucks. And that truck with 2,000 less will, on certain nights, like, wear you out. Like, I thought I had to pull one at BG this year on Friday day session. And a single charger truck comes out there, pins it at 50 foot, and just had the perfect setup, the perfect horsepower for that track. And it's just going to happen sometimes.
So that'll happen. A single charger truck can kick your ass.
Oh yeah,
get it right.
It goes to show it's not about power. I mean,
at the end of the day, the dirt is the equalizer. So what would have to change? Not that you would want it to, in your class to where horsepower would be the name of the game. Would you have to run tires like a mini rod or a 2-wheel drive on all 4 corners?
You just have to get power to the ground. So it's either bigger tires, more weight, and a higher hitch. I mean, it's anything that hooks them up.
Sure. Do you think that should happen, or do you like the dirt being the equalizer and horsepower not being?
No, I don't. I mean, like, man, I can't. Well, you see, like this year at BG, we had 35 trucks signed up on our class, and when I seen that, I'm like, holy crap, because we'd only ever had 24 up there before, and so it is starting to catch on. And Hazley's been building a bunch and new ones and stuff like that, but it's like, I don't know. And I know you guys come from big classes, but like me as a spectator in the stands, after I get past like 25, I'm like, I lose interest. Like,
I would agree.
Where are all these guys? Where do they come from?
Everywhere for that one. But, and that's just like another thing, like, not trying to change subjects real fast or whatever, but it's like BG. It's like, what's a per hook there? It's like $104, $110. What is it? It's like somebody needs to do the simple math on that. Like, it's like, why don't you just charge $1,000 to hook? Like,
Good idea.
that way, you could actually pay a little more.
Well,
You
they're going to
wouldn't
have
have-
to put that money back into the purse, though, Shane.
Right. And then, Joe Blow doesn't come from 20 minutes down the road just so he can pull in front of, 60,000 people that has zero chance of winning. And
Sure.
I mean, but think about it. Those guys are so smart. Like, so what's parking cost you at BG if you come to spectate? What does it cost to get in?
If you
on
get a campsite or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
take the
yeah.
campsite plus the parking, plus your entry fee, like to get in for a day. You're probably at north of $400, but you can go pay 110 or 102 or 4 and hook there and get free camping, free parking. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
And
Two hot beer,
You get free
two or
beer
three hot
tonight.
beers. You can go anywhere.
Right. Right. It's like, somebody needs to do the math on that and say, we need to make this not economical, for somebody just to enter.
Or when you're middle of, I know it's different, but like I'm not like seriously, I'm not going to make a big deal of this because it, 2-wheel drives, 4-wheel drives, mini rods now, like certain classes starting to get big enough, it starts affecting it. But like, there's no incentive for the guys that follow the entire schedule.
Right.
You followed the entire schedule this year, right? You're Grand
Right.
National Champion. You went to every single hook. You did whatever.
Right.
And you look at places like that, and I get it. They want to be the biggest, the best, whatever. But you look at stuff like that, and guys go to 2 pools all year long, and that's one of them. And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, it's not very
Yep.
fair
Right.
to the guys that
just
do.
like-
Now, I get it. Whatever.
Right. And I guess on the other side of that fence, and I think I was talking to Yeager about it this year, it's like he's like, man, we need to try to figure something out. So all us points vehicles either pull together or something there. That way it don't wreck our points race. And it's like, Friday there, I got second place. And I think DeBro, so DeBro's son,
Yeah, Marshall
pulls up there. Yeah, Marshall. He got 12th, and I only picked up 4 points on him because all the other trucks in between us weren't running for points. They didn't have a
Right.
Grand National license. So that's kind of an equalizer on that. But like, somebody like your size of your guys' class, say a lot of them guys are signed up, it probably does really wreak havoc. So
Yeah.
That was it was a trying experience for me. The points leading tractor for me was 48th and 55th hook out of 56. Like, it was like, oh boy. And one of them was in the afternoon, so it was like, oh well, it's part of it.
Yep.
But I don't know. Basically, you go to pulling like that, there's a chance you're saying, okay, we're saying screw the ring to
Right.
pull for points.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And
Yep.
I don't know in some people's mind what means more. I mean, that
Right.
ring means a lot
Right.
to
It
a lot
kind
of
of
people.
Championship
Championship means a lot too, but like there's more eyes on you if you win that ring than there are at the end of the year. You
Right.
get points. So
It-
a lot of people
Sometimes up there it turns into damage control. That's for sure. So
Sure, absolutely.
Well, Shane, we do a little segment on here called the rapid fire segment. So it's about 10 questions. They get a little silly, but no need to extrapolate on some big long answer. Just quick answer and we'll be good to go. So here we go.
Yep.
If you had to pick one color food to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be?
one color.
Yep.
Red.
Would Craig Dickey have more national championships if he ran a Cummins from the moment he got into the sport?
Yes.
Would you have been more likely to trust the first person that ate an egg or the first person that ate a potato?
Egg.
If you're traveling at the speed of sound and you're wearing headphones, can you still hear what's coming from your headphones, or have you left the sound behind?
You can hear it.
What tractor puller is most likely to spend a year in jail?
Matt Clemens.
If you had a time machine and could go back to when you first named your truck Trump, would you still call it that?
Absolutely.
Do people who were born deaf their entire life think in sign language or not?
No.
If dogs wear pants, would their pants have 2 legs or 4?
2.
Would 8-year-old Shane think today's Shane is pretty cool?
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah, I'd say so.
It's fair. If you were haunted by a ghost for the rest of your life by somebody who has passed away, but you got to pick the ghost, who would you pick?
Oh, I don't know. That's one you have to think about.
Oh no, rapid fire, Shane.
But when you say ghost, that doesn't mean they're necessarily bad, right? You think of ghosts and you think bad.
They could just be hanging out like Casper.
Well, the reason I started 4-wheel drive truck pulling was for John Bowden, so I'd say him.
It's a solid ghost.
Hell yeah.
If these two people were running for president, who would win in a political debate? Marv Epperson or Jonathan Mears?
Mears.
There, that's it. That's rapid fire. Nothing to it.
Piece of cake.
So when you stemming off of that, the Trump truck thing. So there was obviously got a little political there for a little while with the stickers and everything, but Billy Beers created these beautiful stickers that say "Make pulling great again," and it had a picture of my dad's tractor on it, and you stuck that sucker right on the front of your weight box.
Yep.
How mad were you when you started peeling that sticker off and it took every inch of paint off that weight box?
If you look at that picture, they're right there on the screen of my truck. I guarantee you can still see the outline of it.
It's still there.
I wasn't mad. There's battle wounds on that thing. Looks like there's a camera in the way there, but yeah. It's still right there.
Seriously,
so.
I remember the first pull you went to, I think, and pulled it off there.
You can see it right there.
Right there.
Yeah, you can definitely see it.
Can we zoom in backstage on the top of the weight box?
I felt so bad. I didn't even get the stickers made. Like Billy Beers had them made, and like there were numerous people that put them on stuff that when they peeled it off, it peeled every inch of paint off.
They were mean, man. They were mean.
It's a quality adhesive that Billy sourced.
Oh man, it was cement. It was like liquid cement on the back of them things. You stuck it. It was taking whatever off.
Liquid what now, Adam?
Cement.
Oh, okay. You got to get the T on the end of that, there, brother.
Hey, Steaming. Adam I know we've been talking about dongs and stuff, but definitely, I think the internet was cutting out or something because there was definitely a T.
Tyler, Adam has 2 young kids. We have 0, so I think he knows what he's doing.
Okay.
Shane, we've talked a lot about pulling and obviously all your accomplishments. Tell us about what you do on a regular day-to-day basis and a little bit of your background, non-pulling related.
Well, I feel like I'm a full-time dad chasing kids every day, but we farm, just grain farm, no livestock. Farm just shy of 8,000 acres. We're getting ready to roll into busy season here. We started last week. We got some rain here the last couple of days, but just chasing kids around. I got 3 kids. I got 2 girls and a boy. They are 12, 10, and 8, and they play every sport known to man. So I chase them around. So it was just by grace of God that I could run for a Grand National Championship this summer, and thank God that all worked out. But I really enjoy running for a championship. I just when I only get to get out 4 or 5 times a summer, like you just have less motivation and stuff. But man, when you can go after the ship, that's what you do. So
awesome. And you're from Ohio. What part of Ohio?
So I'm like 50 minutes south of BG. So I'm just kind of in my backyard, pretty much directly in between Urbana and Bowling Green.
We were talking a little bit earlier about the 4-wheel drive truck class and how popular just 4-wheel drives are in the state of Ohio. And Van Hazley, when he came on this podcast a year or so ago, I think, was talking about some of the original stories of diesel trucks running against blown trucks and so forth in the state of Ohio. And he even mentioned how blown 4-wheel drive pullers made him a better puller.
Yeah.
Did you kind of come up at that same time with Van?
So when I think he started, maybe he went to a handful of OSTPA pulls, just hit and miss here and there, but like they're like 09. So I won the OSTPA title in 2011, I think, and we had 34 hooks that summer, state hooks. 34.
Wow.
Yeah,
for your class.
They'll let you drop. They'd let you drop your 3 worst hooks, and I mean, that was, and Van's right. Like, I would not be half the driver I am today. I mean, those boys with them, them power glides would straight wear your ass out. I mean, and flipping timing switches going down the track and pulling timing in and putting it, putting it in, pulling it out, just crazy. Like, I mean, it really did. Like, you had to mimic what they done, or they're just going to straight wear you out. So yeah, definitely made me a better driver. Like, it's like watching some of the tractor classes. Like, there's going to come a time where they're going to, they already have, but with the alcohols and diesels together, like, I'm just telling you, like, because we've been down that road. It's apples and oranges, and there's no set of rules that are fair, and nobody's ever happy. And that was kind of our thing. Like, once Eric Stacy and Van started winning in the state of Ohio, and me, it's like, they took 2 inches of hitch away from us was the first thing they did. And then they gave an inch of hitch to themselves. Then they gave, they went from 6,200 pounds to 6,500 pounds. And, just, that's what we really enjoyed is, they made us work. They made us find setups. They made us find power. And, man, we've kind of kept going from there. So.
The variables between that class specifically, and there's others, and you make the blended class is what we'll call them, is to drag racing is like pro mod, because pro mod drag racing, they have like what, Adam, probably 5 to 6 different types of vehicles can run, and they're nonstop changing rules, and it just seems like a very frustrating way to compete.
I think the they that keeps changing rules think they know, and I think it just pisses people off. But like, I mean, that's just me.
Oh yeah, that's the way it is. Like, but that since then they've separated that class in the state of Ohio. So the diesels have their own class, and the blown trucks have their own class, and man, they had something there with them two together. I mean, that was a fan favorite. I mean, what a class to watch, you have 3 or 4 that go and about blow your eardrums out. And then, the next one just smokes. And man, it was a fan favorite when they were together.
Diesel trucks, they can't run in the blown class anymore. Then it's
no, they'd destroy them. Would they not?
What would Bob Bowden say about that?
Oh, well, I don't, just like Van would say, like when he first started coming over, it's like, Larrabee and Bowden, them guys would just say, yeah, come on over. We'll take your money. Well, it didn't take all but about 1 or 2 years, and they're like, oh, fuck.
But like, right. It wouldn't even be close nowadays, correct?
No, I don't think so. It just, we've come so far that, well, so like the truck that won Friday at BG, that single charger truck, I think they just changed it to separate classes 3 years ago. And I think that last season or 2, he straight wore them out with a single charger. I mean, wore them out. So
it almost seems like, the last 10 years, the diesels have progressed more than, I guess if we want to say the alcohol class. Do you feel like it will get to the point where Colin Ross is no longer allowed to run in the open super class?
I think it's a really good chance.
Small tidbit of information there for anybody that know. If you paid attention to that open superstock deal at the Enderle, Colin was telling me this, and it was kind of interesting to me. So Saturday evening at Fort Recovery, they started running the class, and they got all but about 2 tractors finished of that open superstock class, and he was leading the class at that point in time. But since the class didn't finish, they wiped the points clean. If they would have just got finishing order there, he would have won the Superstock Open points this year.
Yep, true statement.
And that was probably his best pass of the summer. That was a. I remember it was right before that rain was coming in, and he freaking blew by him. I think he was like 40 feet in front of second that night.
Oh,
too.
He was, Yeah. So as a diesel puller, is it cool to watch the open superstock class go?
Oh yeah, I enjoy watching it, and I enjoy watching it a lot. Probably one of the better ones, I think. But just because you do get that little bit of a mix, but but man, like, you know, it's just awesome watching Ross pull. It's like, you know, you want to see somebody that's big dick, and it's like, dude, he's like, he's just guessing when he has to let out of it to win. And it's like, man, I mean, how many times did we see that this summer?
Oh,
and it's like,
multiple times.
Like,
that was going to lead me to another question we have here. What is your favorite class to watch? And if you could compete in one other class that's not diesel truck related, what would it be?
I really like, I like watching the diesel super class, and I even like watching the semis. I really like the semi class, watching the semi class. I would not want to compete in it though. Like, semi shit is just way too heavy. Like, good Lord. Just, imagine wrenching on one of them things, just like,
no.
You know what one piston and rod weighs? Like, no way.
Yeah.
Like, and then, you know, the diesel super guys, I mean, why would you ever want to jump in a class where you had to pull against Ross, where you know you got to blow your shit up every pass to compete? So, I mean, you know, so I don't know, probably pro stock, I would say.
Okay. Do you think that will ever happen?
No, I don't want to spend that much money. Them boys got some big checkbooks in that class. I'll pass on that one. I drove back when Brad Moss was running his tractor. I drove his tractor one night in Georgetown, Ohio, and we kind of swapped rides down there. He drove my truck and I drove his tractor, and it's cool, but somebody made the comment afterwards, like, "What'd you think of that?" I was like, "That's cool." I was like, "It's kind of cheating though." It's like, "What do you mean it's cheating?" It's like, the fucker's hooked, the front end comes off the ground. Like, you know, it's like, well, you knew exactly when to push the throttle. And it's like, I mean, yeah. And, you know, and that's just like going back to that first thing we talked about. It's like, Brad used to do really well, and he just outdrove them guys. But now everybody's went to that fast wheel speed thing, and I think somebody could slow their tires down and put a lug, you know, put some weight on their front end and a little bit more lug. And I think you could, I don't know. It makes me want to do it. I can tell you that.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
So we won't talk specific dollars because that'd be corny, but what does a top of the line pro stock go for compared to a top of the line diesel 4-wheel drive? Is it 2X?
No, I think to build something like I have now, I think you'd be north of 400,000, and I think pro stock you're probably what, 6, 7.
Okay, so not quite 2 times, but close to 2 times.
Yeah,
getting that.
And Shane's got a aluminum block that you know, takes heat a little bit better. Kind of runs a lot more passes. I mean, I think I heard at one point in time there when you're really. Maybe it was right before Bowling Green. You had to really wrench on it that one year to come back and win the ring. That you had like 150 or 250 or some stupid amount of runs on that motor.
So I've had two different motors that went 117 passes, and they weren't broke. Like when I pulled them, they needed rings and bearings, and you know, obviously we throw a crank in them and stuff too. But like, Van's come up with a setup out there that it's. I mean, I hate knock on wood. I think it's pretty well bulletproof. I mean, we change oil in them every 4 or 5 passes in the motor, every 3 passes in the pump, few times a year for the turbo oil. And then, I mean, you just, you know, check the valves every couple weeks. And I mean, it's you know, saying like we had 35 at BG, I cannot believe the class hasn't took off more than it has just because of that. Like,
seriously. No wonder you guys are always partying. You ain't got to work on shit.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's pretty good stuff.
Yep.
I always do joke, me personally, because I effing hate diesel. I hate the smell of it. I don't like anything about it. But if I had to pull in one diesel class, it would be your class. But I don't think that's ever going to happen.
We would welcome you gladly. So.
I don't know, not with a wimpy attitude like that, Chase. You just hate the smell of diesel.
What's wrong with you, boy? You got to pull something diesel. It would be that class. How about that?
Yeah.
As we narrow down here, I just got to ask a quick question because I'm infatuated with this question only because I guess we have more trouble than anybody does on the road. But do you have any travel stories like stick out to you about any kind of good things, bad things, anything in between?
Are you hinting that why
I have no idea. This is a total question that I always ask. I'm not hinting at anything. If there is a hint towards something, I need to know this.
Ever since Chapel Hill, I've been driving around in a day cab pulling my trailer.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
I did notice that.
So right before I went to Chapel Hill, I had a local shop here work on my semi, just oil leak. We were spraying soybeans. I didn't have time to dick with it. Just took it over there, said, here, don't do anything till you have parts. I need to be out of here Thursday in a week. And they called, said they had parts, fixed it, went over, picked it up, hooked it to the trailer. The very first pull ever that it's just been me and my wife, ever.
No.
So
it's like a honeymoon.
Right. Yeah. So we rolled down there, pulled both nights down there, and my son had baseball games on Sunday morning. So I'm busting it through the night, trying to get home. I'm south of Louisville on 65 and semi overheats.
Oh.
I'm like, So checked it out what I could there. Couldn't find anything wrong with it. Tried to run it again, overheated right away. So limped it to a Love's trucking park or truck stop down there. Ubered to the airport, got a rental car.
Impressive.
Drove straight to my son's baseball games. Never even went home. Watched those. Went to Peterbilt on Monday morning. Got thermostat housing and water pump. Went back down there. It's like 95 degrees in the Love's parking lot. I drained all the coolant out of it. It smells like dried piss. I mean, you know how it is in truck stop parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Drain all the coolant out of it. Pull the thermostat housing out of it. And there's like this slimy stuff on the thermostat housing. I'm like, what the hell is that? And, it's right. You're changing the water pump right there, too. So pulled the water pump out. When I pulled the water pump out of the back of the front cover, there was a shop rag wrapped around it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So how I ever drove 600 miles before this thing finally overheated, I'll have no clue. But
in the hottest days of the year.
Yeah. So, long story short, the motor's completely toasted. I mean, the oil temp was over 300 degrees because it plugged the oil cooler too.
Oh, of course.
Sure, yeah.
So that thing's toast. So I sent a picture to the guy and I said, hey, you want your shop rag back? And he called me right away. He's like, dude, I'll take care of everything. I'm so sorry. He turned it into his shop insurance. So I'm still fighting with his insurance. It's like,
really?
They're trying to actually total the truck out just because of the motor.
What?
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I'm like, have you not seen this semi? Trying to tell me it's worth $50,000. I'm like, no, not
for anybody who doesn't know, this thing is like, I noticed that I was at Bowling Green and you're usually like one of the first people there because you park up by the Junior Fair building there and you kind of pulled up there and I was like, that ain't what the hell is that? I must be doing something to a truck or something
Yeah.
No, I had no idea until right now that happened. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, dude.
Well, if anybody wants to know, a 3406E new content motor is $54,000.
Jeez.
Wowzers.
Yep.
Damn it.
So,
oh, shit.
That's why we've been carting around in one of the farm trucks all summer. So,
what's a travel story is not really your fault. You're just the bystander in it, unfortunately. So, good luck with the good part is you have plenty of months to get it fixed. When's your do you plan on doing any pulling this fall or?
It just depends. I get so busy with harvest, but there's a diesel hook out in Pennsylvania here. I think it's next weekend. I'm probably not going to make that because I know I'll be harvesting. The following, or they have that Diesels in Dark Corners down in Georgia. They say that's a really good track. I've never been there.
Pool.
That track is really, really good. I can tell you it's good. It's something worth attending. It's just they pull for 9 hours straight. So
right.
I think they put your class early in the night. I recommend going. It's something to see. Just make sure you have gas. Make sure you have gas because you're 45 minutes from civilization.
Yeah.
So in your big time of 8,000 acres, you have 8,001 acres now that you have to, maybe 2 acres or maybe 3 acres more that you got to you're disking up your yard. What are you doing?
Yeah, one of them things. We were so dry this summer that the grass was pretty well brown anyway, and I got tired of beating around on my lawnmower, and I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it. I am doing it. So I take an offset disc into my yard and just tear the shit out of everything. And yeah, that's what I've done all day today is just beating all them clods down and trying to level it out. But it's
so you just disc your yard for the hell of it?
No, it's just rough. I wanted nice looking grass, and I wanted
dog fences out there, and gas lines.
I tore it out before I did this. Yeah, went around the whole property and pulled the wire out of the ground.
Now, Shane, did that really make it smoother? Because I can't help but notice it almost looks rougher at this point.
Oh, it's rough right now. It's going to be smooth though. I guarantee it. I got enough equipment sitting around. We'll make it right.
You're gonna just rototill that thing in and get a V drag behind it and just really get her smooth.
See, if that was Adam Bauer, he would just plant corn all the way up to the side of his house.
Well, right there where I'm running at, right there in that video, I'm right on top of my leach field, so I plant about as close as I can to it.
I got you. Yeah. Yep. I seen that the other day. I was like, this guy's dedicated. He wants a good yard. I thought maybe Nate Bowes maybe sprayed some fertilizer in your yard or something.
Funny you say that because I've been calling him, asking him pointers because he's got irrigation in his yard. His yard's nice.
Yeah, that's classy stuff for sure. All right, Shane. Well, hopefully Chase prepared you on this. We like to wrap up the shows with a little segment called 2 Truths, 1 Lie, where you give us 3 statements, 2 of them truths, 1 of them a lie, and it's up to us 3 to figure out which one's the lie. Are you prepared, sir?
Yep. We kind of already talked about one thing I was going to say, which I didn't think you guys knew about, but so I got to come up with another one. But yeah,
I trust you'll be able to do so.
Yep. So you just go shoot for it.
Yeah.
Stage is yours.
We'll decipher.
Okay. First one. 4 Superstock diesel crews ended up in jail one evening. Second one, oh man.
You can say it. It's okay.
Right. Right. I'm trying to think.
This is definitely not the law.
I feel like it's a true story. He's just debating on whether or not he can get away with saying this in this setting.
Right. No, I'm just trying to think here. I've sold my truck, my Trump truck, and let me think here. Man, I'm struggling with the third one.
Okay, we'll do 1 truth, 1 lie.
Okay, do that.
The lie is you sold the Trump truck.
Yeah, I don't buy that for a minute. That was the easiest one ever.
Yeah, because I had this all figured out. I was going to go I was going to say something about scrapping in the pits with another crew, but man, we've already talked about that. So
it was all going well until Adam called you out on disc in your yard.
Right.
Well, now I got to hear about the night where several crews ended up in jail. So take it away.
Oh yeah, so it was the night that we ran Trump for the first time in Sandusky. We rolled the front end out of it that night, so we knew we had to do work to it before BG. But we decided to leave Sandusky and jump on a boat and go to Put-in-Bay for the night.
Oh, nice. I've been there. It drinks beer for sure.
I got thrown off that island one night with Jeff Hurt when I was 19 with a fake ID. That's another podcast story, though.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I ran off the island on a boat and we hauled out there. But
Oh yeah. But, so we ended up obviously in a bar that night, and that's back when Matt Clemens used to pull. He was with us, and we were standing on the edge of a dance floor, and he was up standing in front of me, like talking to me, and he just looked at me and smiled real big, and I'm like, what? And he just chucks me as hard as he can, like right in my chest. Well, the bouncer was standing with his back to me right behind me, and we were on the edge of like 3 steps that went up to the dance floor. So me and the bouncer go off the steps and land on the floor beside each other, down 4 steps. And dude, that place erupted. Like, but that was Matt. So
He was hulking out.
oh yeah, he was. Yep. So
were you one of the 4 in jail?
oh yeah, we had to go to jail that night. So
What's Put in Bay jail like?
it's pretty small. It was pretty informal that night because we actually went there because well, we were kind of half-ass drugged there, but the most of the reason why we went there is because
You were on drugs there?
we were filling out reports. So, yeah.
Hang on. When you say you're drugged there, like they drug you there, you weren't on drugs there.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, no, got drug in a headlock down there.
Oh, shit.
It was like across the street.
So did you have to spend the night there?
No, did not.
Okay. You just visited the jail.
Correct. We visited.
Yeah.
So
Right on.
Yep.
All good stories end with visiting jail, not going to jail. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Which brings us to usually our last really true question that we try to ask, and I think it's the most important for guys that are pulling to kind of maybe get their 2 cents out. Like, so if you're in charge of tractor pulling, truck pulling, what is the first thing that you do, or the most important thing that you do to make this sport better?
besides charge higher per hook fees, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see where things go. I mean, really like what RJ done this last year. I think there's room to grow on that aspect, but I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's things you can tweak, but I mean, I think everybody's doing as best as they can, and I enjoy it, or I wouldn't do it. So
right,
that's a good answer.
Well said.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, like I said, I think everybody's, doing what they can. Sometimes stuff's overreached, and we talk about safety stuff all the time. It's like, oh, you see what happened? There's something else coming. Something's coming in the next day or two.
Oh, yeah.
But I understand why they do it, but you're not going to stop all that stuff. Some of that stuff is just freak, and it's going to happen. I mean, so
right.
Well said. Yeah, that was the nicest answer anyone's ever get.
Usually it's like a 2 or 3 minute bitch session on whatever you think that you need to. Hey,
I don't have much to bitch about. Like I said, I don't mind short tracks. They tend to favor me, and I don't mind long ones and going fast either. So, I mean, on the same token, it's like, I'm sure guys are bitching about length of tracks and being shitty, but
whoa! Did you hear that, Adam?
Once
just
again, those shit tracks favor me, so I'm not bitching about them. So
hey, I told you, no bad tracks, just bad setup, bro.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, my boy said that. Everybody's, people bitch about the sled. It's like, well, everybody's got to pull it. Everybody's got to pull on the same track too. So it's our job to figure it out. And that's the thing. If you're going to have, and maybe you have them already, but there's nobody in our class like that. But if you wanted to break it down to dirt type and sled and gearing setup and tire setup for every sled, every dirt, if you wanted to take it to NASCAR level, I'm sure you could, but take a lot of the fun out of it too. So,
right.
Yeah. At the end of the day, dirt is the equalizer in our sport. And as much as it kills us at times, it also rewards us at times. And man, is it sweet when that happens. So.
Yep.
Shane, we introduced you as a founding father and an icon in the diesel four-wheel drive class. I still stand beside that. You are. You don't have to admit it, but you've been an amazing guest. Probably as easy to talk to and as interested as I've been just getting to know diesel four-wheel drive pulling. So appreciate you coming on. Anything that you want to shout out or anyone you need to thank besides your wife or your family or anybody like that?
Of course, I want to thank my family, all the guys here at the farm where, they give me a chance to go play. They farm pretty well runs itself when I walk away. And of course, I want to thank my crew. I want to thank Nate Bowes and Scott Snow, Curtis Reichley, all them guys that go pulling with me all the time. I mean, it's they spend a lot of time away from their shops and families and stuff like that to spend time with me and have fun. So, help find good setups on the truck. And Hazley machine for making good power, and then just all the guys that we pull against. Eric Stacy, we share so much information and stuff, and I don't think either one of us trucks would be where it's at without the other one. So all the competitors, I just always look like the tough ones because they make you better. So,
and it seems like the diesel four-wheel drive class, just looking from the outside, seems like everyone gets along really well, and there's not a lot of drama in your class. A lot like the mini rod class. That's why mini rod's my favorite class, because there's just no drama and everyone's hardcore competitive. I think you all have a little bit of the same.
I don't know. I heard about him fist fighting Carl Outlet. How's that work?
Was like 09. That was a long time ago.
Did you guys squash that? You guys are pals now?
Yeah, like I get along with Carl fine now. He's one of the first guys I go talk to, polls and
what
stuff.
was it he said again? You got to have it. What was it? What was the words?
Well, it was more Corey and Corey's buddies, so Carl's son. But yeah, something about got to have it, couldn't get it tonight or something like that, man. It just after 20 beers, that just don't go over too well.
Did you ever say to him like, "Hey, Carl, remember that time we tried hitting each other in the face?"
Right.
So
it was hilarious. The next morning, I mean, people had black eyes with their eyes swelled shut. I mean, it was, and that was the first night of the poll. We all had to poll against each other the next night. So.
That's awesome. Did you beat him the second
you'll be
night?
There's a lot of fans that follow this podcast, and you'll be surprised. So fans, all of you have a full initiative to walk by Shane Kellogg's trailer and say, "Gotta have it, couldn't get it" at any time in the future, just to see what happens. So,
and Shane will punch you in the face.
Oh man!
Oh shit! And
It's better than beating off constantly, right?
Right.
So we might see the Trump truck next weekend at Weekland's Power Weekend. Is that the one you're referring to potentially?
Yeah, I don't think I'll make it. I really don't. I'd say I know I won't, because I know my son's football team, they're undefeated right now, and if they win this Saturday, they'll be in the championship game that weekend, and they're not going to lose this year. So I mean, it's just football games.
They're not going to lose this.
They're tough, man. They are tough.
The teams they play are looking at their tailgate like Trump's tailgate, right?
Right. Well, it's like our school has about 60 kids a graduating class. I mean, real small school in the country, and we went into Findlay last weekend. They're D1. We're D6.
Oh,
and we beat them 44-14.
Wow.
D1. Yeah. And they were double our size, but man, we just wore them out. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Triple option.
Potentially then maybe Diesels and Dark Corners, just seeing how things go the next few weeks.
Yeah,
maybe.
I would like to make it down to that one. And actually, first time forever, I'm kind of excited about going to the NTPA banquet this year. So
in Orlando.
Hey, Orlando.
Yeah.
Hey, Shane, while we're speaking of that, maybe are you taking your rig there?
I don't think so, because I sure as hell am driving a day cab that far. So
okay. Just checking, brother.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, Shane, we're going late. It's been awesome. Appreciate you,
buddy.
Hopefully we can see you, if not next weekend, in Diesels and Dark Corners on Full Pull Live. Both of those shows are going to be streamed, and we'll be sure to have some drinks, and we'll not say gotta have it but can't get it. Is that what it is?
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap the show up totally here. We're coming up on 2 hours 45 minutes. So Tyler and Adam, it's been fun, gentlemen. Tyler, I'm sorry there was no championships to be had tonight, but you're still a shotgun champion in my heart. So.
We can't all be winners, boys. Thanks for joining us, Shane.
Yeah, see y'all next
Thanks,
week.
Shane. I appreciate the stories.
See you
It
guys
was great,
later.
buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Thanks. Safe harvest season.
I think backstage we were canceling for everybody.